Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink.
He will need significant recovery time after the procedure. Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham today apologized and walked back last night's comments regarding that the relationship between quarterback Jalen Hurts and receiver A.J. Brown isn't as good as it once was. Graham was responding to Brown's passing game criticism post-game Sunday. Do not expect any of this to go away quickly for Philadelphia, notes ESPN's Dan Graziano.
They play for a team that this time last year was completely collapsing internally after a 10-1 start. And all year there have been questions about, could that happen again? It looked like they were answering those questions in a good way. They can do it. Like, they're good players, they're good coaches, like they can manage this. But I think the story of their season now becomes, how do you recover from this? How do you manage this?
Tiger Woods returning to this month's PNC Championship with his son Charlie, his first competition since the British Open and a 6 back surgery 3 months ago.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Wednesday, the great Mel Kiper Jr. joins us at 8:30 a.m. Eastern to look ahead to Week 15 in the NFL, as well as the college football playoffs. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And Mr. Toby Tumpley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Portal spinning. Shea Dixon in 15 minutes. Stephen Milam, Ashton, Larson in studio 1 hour from right now. Sean Salisbury's here. Ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, y'all, well, the second full day of the portal window, and news is kind of spinning fast and furious with players going into the portal, players taking visits. Let's kind of get to, instead of a lot of the speculation, which is out there as far as who else might enter the portal and who, what players maybe LSU might be targeting, start with something we know. Sophomore Kamorian Pimpton became the latest LSU Tiger to enter the portal. This is something that we did to tell you about last week, was a possibility. New Pimpton was considering this, and that it was actually pretty likely. I know there's a lot of people that are going to be really disappointed because, quite honestly, from the very beginning, just saying, like, Pimpton ain't easy was a pretty good joke. Fit on a T-shirt. You have a dude that's 6'6", looks like a pterodactyl running downfield trying to make catches. We all sort of were drunk with the idea of Pimpton as a red zone threat. And if we're being completely honest, it just didn't materialize. Pimpton spent 2 years in Baton Rouge. He caught 8 balls. He caught 8 passes. He caught 7 passes. 7 passes for 80 yards. It just wasn't very productive. Now, a big part of the lack of productivity is the fact that he's behind, quite literally, the greatest pass-catching tight end in LSU football history. I mean, Mason Taylor has more receiving yards and more receptions than any tight end in the history of LSU football. I mean, when you've been playing football for 130 years and you can say you've done something nobody else has done, that's really significant. And Mason Taylor is awesome.
Mason Taylor!
So, there's a couple of ways to look at the Kamorian Pimpton news. one thing for sure is that it leaves LSU decimated at tight end. Okay, with Taylor going pro, with Pimpton now entering the transfer portal, Trey'Dez Green having moved to wide receiver. We'll see if he stays there. If they continue to try to bulk him up, maybe continue with the path as a tight end. I don't know. The only tight end you have on the roster right now, with Pimpton entering the portal, the only tight end you have on the roster is true freshman signee J.D. LaFleur. That's it. That's the list. Provided Green stays at wide receiver. So we've gone through this whole thing about wants and needs and musts in the portal. Like a running back is a want. You're probably good there with Caden Durham, Harlem Berry coming in, JT Lindsey coming in. We'll see what happens. Maybe Trey Holly coming back. You move Juwan Johnson running back. You're probably good there. It'd be nice to have somebody else. Then you got needs. Where like offensive line's a need. You got a whole bunch of bodies there, guys that play, but you really need somebody with experience. Absolute must, like not even debatable. There is no compromise. You must go address that need. Tight end might be at the top of the list now. Receivers there, defensive ends there, safeties there. Tight end may be at the top of the list now. You can't go into the season with one tight end, and that's what you have right now. Not only must you get a tight end, you might need to go get two in this portal cycle. The odd part about this is we've talked about Brian Kelly and his ability to recruit and develop tight ends. And my goodness, we had Taylor in that first class in 2022, but they knew they were going to need numbers. And so in 2023, remember, they went and signed four. They signed four tight ends in the class of 2023. You had Pimpton, Jackson McGowan, Mac Markway, and Connor Gilbreth. Gilbreth was the JUCO guy. That was the blocker. Markway was the real, like, prototypical tight end. The big physical inline blocker who's also athletic enough to go catch the ball. And then Pimpton and McGowan are basically glorified receivers. All four of them are gone. Markway, McGowan, Gilbreth all left after their first year in Baton Rouge, and now Pimpton is gone after year two. So the four guys you signed last year to fortify the numbers in that position grouping are all gone. We have talked a little bit about players that LSU may target at tight end. I said we're trying to avoid speculation. Let's stick with what we know. One of the things we know is that Luke Haas, the transfer from Arkansas, is visiting LSU this week. So he's got a couple of visits lined up. LSU's on the list. Bauer Sharp from Oklahoma, another big name in the portal that I'm told LSU is going to kick the tires there as well. We know the tight end from Southwest Missouri State has an LSU offer. So LSU's being aggressive there. And like we've said, there's a lot to offer for tight ends. Playing time. I mean, you got one tight end. You know, one. It's incoming fresh. You got one guy. So playing time is there. You got an offense that features the tight end, and LSU's got money to spend. There's a lot to offer. Whatever elite portal tight end may come in. But again, this is an absolute must. If you don't go address tight end with one of the elite players in this portal cycle, that is a massive swing and miss. Again, Kamorian Pimpton entering the transfer portal isn't a great surprise. We hinted at this last week and told you that it was a possibility because we knew it was something that was being discussed and probably likely. And I don't know that you lose a whole lot with Kamorian Pimpton. I hate to say it that way, but this is a guy that his body style isn't developed to where he's going to be a blocker for you. So when he's on the field, you're a bit predictable by personnel. And when you look at the big-bodied red zone receiver in the slot, Trey'Dez Green passed Kamorian Pimpton this year. Can we all agree to that? When Brian Kelly when he had said they were moving Trey'Dez Green to get him on the field, like, he took those reps from Kamorian Pimpton. So you had Green pass Pimpton. Pimpton's not going to be a hand-in-the-dirt blocker. Body style-wise, he's the same as Trey'Dez, and Trey'Dez passed him. So I get it. It's not a devastating loss from the sense that this was a guy that was super productive. high ceiling as a pass catcher? Sure, and if he goes to the right spot, he could be great. But I understand why it maybe didn't or wasn't going to work here, but it doesn't change the fact that for LSU, you have a dramatic need now. Not even need, a must at that position. The other thing is worth mentioning, one of the last classes Ed Ogeron signed, the 2020 class we've looked at, and you wonder why things I've done this talking point a while, but if you go look at that 2020 signing class, which was a highly rated class and it had guys like Eli Ricks and Eric Gilbert, it was a highly ranked class. But one of the reasons that LSU's program eroded is all of those guys left. Gilbert, Ricks, Kayshon Boutte, J. Roy stayed, but Tolles, Phillip Webb, B.J. Ojulari stayed, Antoine Sampa, Jacoby Gillard, Marcus Dumerville left, Josh White left, Trey Bradford left, came back, left again. Dwight McGlothern left, Max Johnson left. Coy Moore left after 1 year. That whole class. TJ Finley left after 1 year. That whole 2020 class, they all left. So it was basically like you didn't have a recruiting cycle. What's going to be super interesting is look at this 2023 class for LSU because it's shaping up the same way. Just as I look at the on-3 composite, the rankings of these players in the 2023 class, of which Pimpton was a member, Lance Hurd, gone. Deshaun Womack in the portal now. Toviano's still here. Jaylen Brown left after 1 year. Shelton Sampson's gone after this year. Jackson Howard left after 1 year. DJ Chester's still here. Kamorian Pimpton left after 2 years. Whit Weeks is still here. Kylan Jackson's now in the portal. Caleb Jackson to be determined. Tyree Adams is still here. Ricky Collins gone. Mac Markway gone after 1 year. Trey Holly, we know his situation. Ryan Yates. Kyle Parker still here battling injury. Kai Preen left after 1 year. Christian Braithwaite left after 1 year. Jeremiah Hughes left after 1 year. You get the point? Mabenga's still here. Jackson McGowan left after 1 year. Michael Doherty left after 1 year. Dylan Carpenter, Ashton Stamps, Connor Gilbreth left after 1 year. What you got? You got 5 guys from that class left? I'm not trying to make light of it, but you want to know why you got to go heavy in the portal? I'm all with building the idea of building through the high school ranks and supplementing in the portal. But one of the things we said pretty consistently is I don't know if Brian Kelly's way or if Lane Kiffin's way is the right way. Ultimately, we'll develop a large enough sample size to see. But if in 2 years' time, after 2 seasons, you got like 5 guys left from your signing class, you're not building depth through the high school ranks anymore. You got to go heavier in the portal. Maybe that's one of the things we're learning throughout this cycle as you build it. But Kamorian Pimpton, the latest LSU Tiger to enter the transfer portal. Tight end, maybe the most gigantic must on the team. Now in the portal cycle. Luke Haas will be on campus. We'll see if they can land him or one of the other major portal targets. All right, it's After Further Review Show. Open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints, and the official beer of AFR. It's Christmas time, y'all. You going to holiday parties all about town. Make sure you reach for plenty of ice-cold Bud Light, be it at your next gathering, at a great dinner, at your home. If you're watching football, you're going to be at the Maravich Center watching LSU hoops. Make sure you got plenty of ice-cold Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of AFR. Drink easy with Bud Light. All right, let's start to Shea Dixon. Signing period wrapped up already. Now we're into the portal window. All the different roster management stuff. Ton to talk about with Shea. We'll do it next on AFR.
AFR.
GLO. GlowResources.com. GlowResources.com. At Glow Resources, they are complete employer solutions. And I always say it that way, complete employer solutions. For a while, their slogan was complete employee solutions. And they changed it because when you think about what they actually do at Glow Resources, they don't work for the employee. They work for the employer. At Glow Resources, they're not a temp staffing agency. At Glow Resources, they work for you, the business owner, to find you the best people to make your business more efficient. So if you're having trouble staffing and finding the right people, let Glow Resources help. Let Glow Resources search their network, their international network, to find the right people to fit your job to make you more efficient. From skilled blue-collar labor to their professional placement division, any industry, any type of office job, they can help with that as well, all the way up to C-level management. It's Glow Resources. Yes, they're headquartered in Baton Rouge, but they got offices all over the country, and they can place employees in jobs all over the world. So if you're looking to make your business more efficient, you're looking to hire the right people, you need Glow Resources. Check them out online at GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com, complete employer solutions.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, every Tuesday we visit with Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. No rest for the weary. Last week was the early signing period that rolls right into the transfer portal and never really stops. Shea, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you, Matt?
I'm doing good. Thanks, man. All right, let's start with post-signing day, now into the portal window. What do you think LSU has identified, or what do you know LSU has identified as the biggest positions of need, like the must-address in this portal window?
Yeah, now that you said signing day and portal, I don't know why I sounded so chippery right there. I'm doing great. I'm tired, but this is the new era. So, yeah, the stretch, we have about 5 days there, Matt, in between Wednesday to Sunday, and then the portal opens. So no rest for the weary with these college coaches on the recruiting front, both recruiting your team, recruiting through high school, and then obviously now the portal. When I think biggest needs, I really think all over the field. Now, I still know we have not heard anything public from Garrett Nussmeier. I have always thought that he was going to return and would sort of operate under that presumption until further notice. So, I wouldn't be out here thinking the quarterback right now, as you see a lot of big names kind of floating around with other colleges. Wide receiver, though, is one that jumps out. And I think when you lose 3 of your top 4 pass catchers and then, guys backups like Shelton Sampson and then have entered the portal, that becomes a big position of need. We'll see what Emory Jones does, but I think O-line is obvious that addressing that. Tight end as well, which you've already seen them setting up visits for. And then on defense, it's almost like pick your poison for me at anywhere but linebacker. I almost feel like they're okay there, and that the focus is on some safeties that have experience, a corner that's got experience, and certainly you'll take any D linemen or edge rushers that are out there, given it's such a premium position and everybody's after them.
So you mentioned corner. One player that we know is going to be making a visit is Zechariah Poser from Jacksonville State. What can you tell us about him and the interest there and how all that sort of came together?
Yeah, they kind of like him at safety as the guy who this past year playing, I guess now with Conference USA, but they won a title with Rich Rod over there at Jacksonville State, and he had a phenomenal year. So there was buzz that he was going to come out and that interest was going to be there immediately from a number of teams, and certainly LSU was one of them. And then he put out that a kind of a short list of schools he was going to check out. I think mainly here you're going to watch LSU and then Florida. He's from the Sunshine State. He's got some connections to the Gators with guys he went to high school with and all that. But definitely as guys enter the portal, I would say so far, Poser at safety is the biggest name that you can attach to LSU in terms of them really going after him.
At cornerback, I know one of the ones we talked about on signing day was Jakeem Jackson. Any from Florida who committed and signed with Corey Raymond there. Any movement there, Shea?
Yeah, he's announced his plans to enter the portal. Now, once Monday got here, you enter your name, and it takes however long to go through. And then, Pete Nakos or whoever out there is announcing it once they confirm a player's in the portal. So I think we probably hear his name pop up officially here soon. And it all signs here for me point to Corey Raymond and LSU. This was a guy, stop me if you've heard this before, Matt, but I was talking to Charles Power, our On3 National Rankings Director, and he was thinking back on when Jackson had come through and said, this was a 3-star guy who didn't have a lot of offers, but Corey had offered him at Florida, and he was like kind of digging through Corey's offers at Florida and was like, well, what's up with this kid? And track multi-sport athlete who was playing both ways and ended up playing corner and went from a 3-star all the way up to finish as the number 3 corner in the country. So that was a big get for Florida, and played some early. Played then 2 games this year, started the first 2 games, then got injured. And then after that, just took a red shirt as opposed to burning a year. And when he hit the portal, I think that it makes sense for LSU to say, hey, come over, play for Corey Raymond, the guy he signed with out of high school, who is certainly with Cy Alexander on his way out in need of another guy like that, right? Like somebody who is a little bit older, has SEC experience, and can bring that to the corner room.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. There's 2 other players that we know that are taking visits to LSU. One of them is a name that should be very familiar to LSU fans. It's Luke Haas, the tight end from Arkansas. He's got a lot of interest, but he'll be on LSU's campus. What can you tell us there, Shea, about the interest, mutual, however it may be, in the decision process for Haas?
Yeah, I think everybody's going to want him, but he lined up immediate visits. LSU first, then he'll be at Bama, then he'll be at Ole Miss to wrap up the week. So clearly wanting to stay in the SEC with kind of the early visits that he has planned. But he was a guy, remember, that went to Arkansas as a 4-star, big get for them, and shined right away. And then he got injured, came back this year, and it was Arkansas. They weren't very good on offense, but he led them. I think in receiving touchdowns, he put up a few hundred yards, caught a bunch of balls, and is big enough to block and be a pass catcher. So I think you can see with Mason Taylor out, and then losing guys like Markway, other guys who kind of were that blocking tight end for you, that they went wire to wire this year with Mason as that guy, and they were converting offensive linemen to help out as extra guys there. And I know Pimpton's planning to go into the portal now, so you've got Trey-Des Green as that mismatched 6'6" type guy out there still, but I think they want to add at least a couple of tight ends here, given that Mike Tyler flipped on you and you're only bringing in one true freshman in J.D. LaFleur. It only makes sense that they don't add one, but they try to add at least 2, given, look, you go back, Matt, to the beginning of this, how much Brian Kelly, we thought, wanted to run this multiple tight end offense. And his history with tight ends speaks for itself. And now 3 years of Mason Taylor, and he's LSU's all-time leader in catches and receiving yards by a tight end, passing up Richard Dixon. So you would think it's an easy pitch, right? Like, hey, look, that's the success that the tight end position's had under Kelly, and now it's wide open at LSU for that kind of prototypical inline tight end position.
Yeah, playing time available. They feature the tight end, and they have money to spend. It seems like, come on down. Who's ready to take this bag of cash and come play tight end at LSU? What about Will Helt? It's the edge from Purdue, who's also going to be taking a visit. And those are the three, Shea, you tell me if I'm wrong, but those are the three that I know of that are planning visits. Haas, Poyser, and Will Helt from Purdue.
Yeah, and they're talking now as guys officially enter the portal. So you see reports of guys planning to enter, but until they're in, you can't have contact with them. But once they're in, they start lining up visits. And he's one of the more sought after defensive ends, edge rushers right now that's out there. And I think that beyond even, Gabe Relaford, who, they were confident and played this year, I think you still want to bring in a guy that's got experience. And even more than that, I won't be surprised if they took a couple of D-line, D-end edge rusher types because, Matt, were we going crazy when Braden Swinson signed out of Oregon and was a guy that was a three-star out of Georgia? And they're like, hey, look, he's got some upside, but he hadn't played a ton. And, well, he sure did shine in year two for him, even if it wasn't right away, played as a backup in year one. So they'll chase the big guys like this, but I also think we'll see them go after some guys who may not have the same stats as others, but can at least bring competition and depth to a couple of positions where they kind of really need it.
Shea, any other player or position right now that's top of mind that's worth mentioning?
I still think that the first name that might pop, or at least it seems like they've been heavily kind of favored with out of the gates, was Barian Brown at Kentucky, who has had kind of an up and down. He was great with Levis, and then they weren't that good throwing it this year, and his numbers dipped, but he had everybody on him the second that he entered the portal. And I don't know if he's already kind of lined up a visit or is swinging through town or however that's going to play out. But from talking to Pete Nakosin on 3 and then just other people around the recruitment, it seems like that could be the first wide receiver domino to drop if it goes LSU's way. So a very productive SEC receiver who's faced SEC defenses is the kind of additions you want here when you're looking to take multiple guys at wideout.
It is worth mentioning that Pete Nakos, who Shea mentioned there, is projecting in his prediction for Barian Brown to land at LSU. So one person's opinion, but it's a very respected and informed opinion, so we'll see how that may all play out. Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Shea, as you start to look forward through this cycle, I want to talk about numbers because we do this every Tuesday, and you were pretty consistent. They want to sign somewhere north of 25 high school players and somewhere in that 7 to 10 range in the portal. Have any of those numbers changed post signing day when the Tigers landed on 23 signees?
Yeah, well, I think even if had they been at 25 or 6 or 7, that the number of transfers that they take would eclipse 10. And I think that will happen. Look, we're on day 2 of the portal window, but we've already run through the roster basically and said at some positions they might need 2 guys. So I think that when Brian Kelly talked about being aggressive, it wasn't just, hey, we're going after guys we think that will be starters or who will certainly compete to start, but also a bigger number than it was a year ago. I think it was 7, something in that range. But also the past 2 cycles, they've lost, 21 players to the portal, 18, and you're at 14 now, kind of inching closer to 15. So that number probably hits 20 again. So it probably will just depend on how the roster balances out. A reminder, the SEC is still on 85 men's scholarship kind of rules, or at least how they're going to follow it into the offseason, and not the 105 that a lot of people in the NCAA is going to allow. And I don't think teams like LSU would fill a full 105, but they're still going to try to be around that 85 number is the point I'm getting at. So I think you'll sort of have to do the math here as we see who goes pro, who transfers, and then certainly who they try to bring in over these next few weeks. And all of that will probably be decided in between now and the 28th when the portal closes.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Y'all give him a follow there on Twitter, X, at Shea Dixon. Make sure you follow all the news there on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Shea, we appreciate it, man. Thanks as always.
No problem, Matt. Thanks.
All right, man. We'll see you soon. Brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishbuilt.com. Tell you every day do business with someone you know. We're talking about Parish Restoration. That's the patented non-toxic dry fog under the Parish umbrella. So if you have mold, think you might. Maybe you have odor. Maybe you've got a building where people have been sick or you need to sanitize, a school, a medical building, an office building. Let Parish Restoration help. It's easy. It's going to be more cost-effective, and it's going to be more efficient. For a home, they can come in less than half a day. Come in the morning, by lunchtime, they're done. They'll spray the patented non-toxic dry fog. As soon as they'll let the fog dwell. As soon as it dissipates, boom, you're back in. Clean smelling, sanitized, fresh home, mold-free. It's Parish Restoration. I'll learn more at parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know, Parish Construction Roofing, parishbuilt.com. All right, we appreciate Shea for joining us. Stephen, Milam, Ashton, Larson, they're going to be doing an autograph signing tonight at Twin Peaks on Segan Lane in Baton Rouge. We'll have the guys in studio with us in 30 minutes, talk about how fall ball went as they look forward to the start of the 2025 baseball season here with Jay Johnson and the squad. So the fellas will be in studio with us here in about 30 minutes from right now. Sean Salisbury in hour 3, as he is every single Tuesday. Let me knock out a break. We'll go around the SEC, and the all-SEC teams, as voted on by the coaches, released today. A lot of Tigers on it. We'll run through it as we continue. It's AFR.
AFR.
Action Industries is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. You can always get them online at actionindinc.com. Action Industries Incorporated. actionindinc.com. And if you have, or you know you will have, turnaround work coming when turnaround season starts, remember Action Industries. Because Action Industries for 42 years has been servicing the petrochemical refinery markets here in Louisiana. There's dozens of plants up and down the river. What you may not know is that one arm of Action Industries is their advanced turnaround group. It is management, it is workers, it is people that specialize in turnaround work. And it's all part of Action Industries. The same great local company, same great local management, but it's an arm, a division completely and totally dedicated to turnaround work. So when it's time for turnaround season, make sure you remember the Advanced Turnaround Group at Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Rolling along. Big shout out to our friends at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. All you farmers out there getting it done, man. We appreciate you. We certainly appreciate our friends over at Sunshine. Sunnyquip.com. Sunnyquip.com. Where did my tractor song go, man? I was still talking about him. That's all right. Okay. Shout out to the farmers. Even though Muse killed the tractor music. Why do you hate the tractor song, Muse?
I don't hate the tractor song. I didn't want us to get flagged.
We're going to get flagged anyway. So he's talking about on YouTube. We get flagged whenever. Because you play licensed music on YouTube, so YouTube gets flagged. That's going to happen anyway. We played that song 15 times. Of course we're going to go. All right. We got Ashton, Larson, Stephen Milam coming in studio. The guys are going to be doing an autograph signing today. Let me get the exact deets for you in case if you're not here for the interview. They'll be here at the top of hour number 2. So that's today, 6 to 8 p.m. Jersey, $75. Baseball is $50. Meet and greet. You can get a picture. You can get more info with, of course, Milam was a freshman All-America. Larson had such a great freshman season as well last year. You're hitting .316, was such a consistent part of that lineup, especially late when he really emerged into that role. So year 1 to year 2 going to be big for those guys. You can meet Monster Milam and Ashton Larson tonight, 6 to 8 p.m. over at Twin Peaks on Seagan in Baton Rouge, again, 6 to 8 p.m. All right, it's after further review. The SEC, the coaches All-SEC team was announced today, and some nice honors for some LSU players. No surprise at all that Will Campbell was first team All-SEC. How about Whit Weeks? First team All-SEC. A deserving honor, as he was one of the top 10 leading tacklers in all of college football this season. But again, a guy that didn't start the season as the starter. Sometime mid-late September, really around the South Carolina game, is when Brian Kelly said, look, we can't justify platooning him anymore. He's got to be on the field every play. And he basically was, with rare exception. But congrats to Will Campbell and Whit Weeks. First team All-SEC by the coaches. Braden Swinson, Aaron Burrell, Emory Jones, second team. Shout out to Aaron Burrell, the freshman kickoff specialist. Swinson was awesome and certainly deserving. Emory Jones as well at right tackle. And then Mason Taylor and Xavion Thomas.
Mason Taylor!
Third team. Taylor is the tight end, Xavion Thomas as the return specialist. So congrats to those Tigers. 7 in all, honored by the league's coaches. And remember, it's even harder than ever to have any of those recognitions because you added 2 more teams to the league. So you didn't add more All-America teams, but you've added more teams to the league, so it's even harder to stand out amid all that. So Will Campbell, Whit Weeks, first team All-SEC as voted by the league's coaches. Congrats to all that were honored. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. We'll go around the SEC in just a quick second. 924-2020, 924-2020. If you're thinking about LASIK, I had someone text the show text line the other day and say, hey, Scone, can you send me the name for the ophthalmologist you talk about? I'd like to give my wife LASIK for Christmas. Be a great idea. Absolutely a great idea. It's the Williamson Eye Center. You can go to williamsoneye.com or you can call 924-2020. Maybe you have FSA funds. Remember, those don't roll over. Those expire at the end of the year. So check your account. If you have FSA funds, you need to spend them before the end of the year. Get on the books now and have surgery before the end of the year over at the Williamson Eye Center. Or maybe start planning for 2025 and start funding those accounts for 2025. It's 924-2020, 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center, williamsoneye.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Star edge rusher Dylan Stewart, he's staying there in Columbia, South Carolina, and he is getting broke off to do it. The report is that he's going to get between $1 million and $1.5 million per season to stay there in Columbia. Great edge rusher this past season, 9.5 TFL, 6.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. Dylan Stewart, 7-figure NIL deal to remain in Columbia. Oh, Robbie Ashford also entered the transfer portal.
The Missouri Tigers.
This is significant for LSU as well. 5-star freshman Williams Nwaneri is entering the transfer portal. He's an edge rusher. He was the number 7 overall prospect in the country in this most recent recruiting class, 6'6", 275. But he only played in a couple of games for Missouri. Now he's hit the portal. By the way, his primary recruiter at Missouri was Kevin Peoples. So a name to keep an eye on as Williams Nwaneri has hit the portal.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
Wide receiver Jaleel Farouk plans to enter the transfer portal. Hayes Fawcett, who busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest these days with the news. 34 games played during his OU career with 23 starts. He's got 1 year of eligibility remaining.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
And 2025 wide receiver Grayson Harris has committed to Mississippi State. He's a 3-star out of Texas. Commits to Mississippi State. Actually signed with Mississippi State on Monday. Had previously been committed to Oklahoma. Decommitted 2 days before signing day. Now will head to Starkville. He's the number 528 overall prospect, the 85th best wide receiver in the country. He'll enroll in January. All right, David, that is around the SEC. Our Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine. You need that tractor, that combine, or the zero-turn mower. Maybe you're looking for one of those gators, like the awesome LSU gator they gave away to benefit 4-H and FFA. You want Sunshine. You want a deer? Bunky and below, you're going to Sunshine. Sunequip.com, sunequip.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. By the way, Hunt just sent this. Otter Locks are live. So if you're interested in getting Jimmy's picks, he's got a 4-pack of college basketball picks. They're live over at LouisianaSports.net. Remember, always free at LouisianaSports.net. No paywalls, no pop-up ads, no freemium, no article limits. It's always free. Everything, content you want at LouisianaSports.net. We appreciate greatly. I'll share this with you. I very much believe in transparency, and I like being able to share success stories with all of you, and to thank you all for helping us and patronizing us, because LouisianaSports.net was a big leap, and it's been a lot of work. But when we were putting together our impressions and our projections for the first 12 months, the number that management had projected for LouisianaSports.net as far as page views for November of 2025, we hit that in November of 2024. We're fully a year ahead of what they had conservatively projected for LouisianaSports.net. So it's been a ton of work. It's been a lot of fun, and sincerely appreciate everybody who's taken time to read the site, to bookmark the site, to share links and a retweet and share on Facebook and everywhere. We just greatly appreciate it. It's been awesome. And if you're an advertiser, you want to be part of LouisianaSports.net, you can help us. Just reach out to me. I'll be glad to help facilitate. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. The New Orleans Saints, Derek Carr, broken hand. Lo and behold, they added a quarterback today. We'll talk about him next. AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. If you haven't done it yet, it's not too late, because you know how the seasons go around here. It's December the 10th, and a week ago it was in the 30s. Now it's 71 degrees, but fear not, later this week the cold weather will be back. You'll be cranking up your heater again. Don't put it off. Make sure you call. Have your heater safety check done. If you haven't done it yet, call River City's 1 Hour Air. They'll come out. They'll take great care of you. They'll make sure that your heater's in tip-top shape, and most importantly, that it's safe to run for the cold weather months. This is a 5-star Google review from Linda Lorio, who said, Twan performed our semi-annual check of our heating and air conditioning system. He was on time, went directly to work, very efficient and knowledgeable. We really like him. Another 5-star Google review for River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001 for River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off the newly designed Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
We're not going to rule them out just yet. I think we have to see how the next day or two, what the healing process is like and see if he can function. But again, don't forget we're also dealing with the other aspect too. So.
Darren Rizzi said they're not ruling out Derek Carr. Well, then we learn on Tuesday that the Saints have signed a quarterback in Ben DiNucci. Darren, you fibbing with us?
Am I a real boy?
Old Pinocchio over there. I get the gamesmanship. I don't hate him for it either. I mean, you do what you got to do. And maybe there's a part of Darren Rizzi that, look, I mean, Derek Carr breaks his hand on Sunday afternoon. It's less than 24 hours later. He's meeting with the media. Derek Carr's like, let's see what this swelling happens, see if it goes down a bit, if I can hold a football. It's my non-throwing hand. Guy's a gamer, wants to play. I get it. Maybe there's some sense there. But also, there's the very real component of this, which is all the reports that came out that they're not going to put him on IR, but his season's very likely over. Okay, all fine and good there. The Saints have to prepare for the possibility, if not the probability or likelihood, of Derek Carr not being available. And you can't just have two quarterbacks. You have to have a third on the roster for practice, for your practice reps, to have another arm at practice, and also for an emergency quarterback on game day, which has been Spencer Rattler. Well, now if Carr's not available, Rattler, Haener will be your two active quarterbacks, so you still need to have a third emergency quarterback. Well, maybe that'll come in the person of Ben DiNucci. So I love this. Ben DiNucci is actually the one that tweeted that that he had signed with the New Orleans Saints. If you didn't see the tweet earlier today, I love it. He tweeted that he was signing with the New Orleans Saints, and the source was himself. Here's the tweet from Ben DiNucci. This was at 10:13 a.m. It's been viewed 2.3 million times. He says, "I have fun news. I signed with the Saints this morning. Source, myself." And in quotes, or in parentheses, fairly credible. So, yeah, there you go, Ben DiNucci. You go break that news yourself there, Kat. A little bit of the background on DiNucci. If the name sounds familiar, probably should, because he played for the Dallas Cowboys, and because the Dallas Cowboys are always on everybody's TV all the time, you probably saw this. So DiNucci was drafted by Dallas in the COVID year in 2020, and he spent 2 seasons with Dallas. He also did time in the XFL with the Seattle Sea Dragons. He spent time with the Broncos, the Bills, and now is signed with the New Orleans Saints. He's got 219 career passing yards in the NFL when he had some spot duty there in the COVID year with Dallas. This was Mike McCarthy, by the way, after the draft in 2020, about what they liked about Ben DiNucci when they drafted him in the 7th round.
Very accurate. He reminds me of a young Mark Bolger, someone that just you look for comparables. He's a young man that's played a position his whole life, and it'll be an excellent addition to our quarterback room.
So DiNucci started his career at Pitt, was there for 3 seasons. Then the 2018 and 19 seasons finished at James Madison, where he started those 2 seasons at James Madison in 18-19. 7th round pick of the Cowboys, and has had limited game action in the NFL, but an available body, very likely a practice body this week, and maybe for the remainder of the season, and quite possibly your emergency quarterback on game day. But I think in adding Ben DiNucci, it's less about DiNucci and it's more about Derek Carr. And if we were thinking about the possibility of Carr playing, the old adage of actions speak louder than words, well, Darren Rizzi can tell me they're not closing the book on Derek Carr. When you go sign a quarterback, it tells you, it shows you what their plans are. That's not to have Derek Carr this weekend or maybe for the future. Rizzi was asked, though, it is worth noting this on Monday, he was asked if Carr could start on Sunday without practicing at all this week.
I think it's likely whoever we go with, decided between Jake and Spencer, I think we'll likely get the majority of the reps here early in the week. And a lot of that has to do with also the concussion protocol, because you got to take the steps, and there's only certain things you can do. And so I think that whoever that guy is will get a majority of reps. So that'll be.
But Derek could conceivably start without practicing most of the week.
Conceivably, yeah.
It is worth noting, and I know this isn't a what and what example, but this did happen a year ago at LSU. Again, that's college to the NFL. But remember, Jaden Daniels suffered a concussion against Alabama when Dallas Turner cheap shotted him. And he didn't practice at all that week and cleared protocol and played against Florida. If you watch the NIL documentary, that was it Netflix or Amazon or whichever one it was, Amazon? If you watch that, they even walk through that about how he was just at practice taking mental reps the whole week. He didn't take a single rep at practice, a physical rep all week, and then went and played the game of his life, which got him back in the Heisman contention. So I get that's college, but it for a guy that's been an 11-year starter in the NFL, it's not unprecedented to think you don't practice physically during the week. I mean, we see it all the time with guys in the NFL that get veteran rest days, or the week is just getting them physically ready to go on Sunday. So I don't know why that would be any different with Derek Carr. If he's able to go, he goes. But again, he's got a clear concussion protocol, and then also has to be physically able to play the position. One more from Darren Rizzi. He was asked also about how they would divvy up reps this week at practice.
Yeah, so we're going to have to make a decision here today. Probably if Derek doesn't go, kind of the direction we're going to go between Jake and Spencer. We'll meet this afternoon and we'll have a plan. I'm going to tell you that whoever that guy is going to get probably the majority of the reps here moving forward this week. In the event that Derek doesn't play, we're going to have to make a decision on that sooner than later. As you know, we don't get a lot of practice days, so the rep count's going to be important. And so, I'll sit down with obviously with Clint and with Andrew Janocko and everybody. And the offensive staff, we'll make a final decision on whether we're going to move forward here this week with Jake or Spencer, and we'll go from there.
Saints have an off day Tuesday, and they'll hit the practice field Wednesday, so they'll make that decision who's going to start today, Tuesday. They'll make the decision of who's going to start. Then Wednesday, when they hit the practice field, everyone will know the answer at that point. And then we'll see the first injury report of the week and how they officially list Derek Carr. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. 9 locations in all. There's 2 in Baton Rouge, Corporate Boulevard in Bocage and in the Mall of Louisiana, Lafayette, New Orleans, Shreveport. Gents, if you're thinking of popping the question, you know where to go. The place that's helped Louisianians get engaged for nearly 4 decades. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. Gents, thrill her with a gift in the red box. If you're not sure what to give, maybe you're already married. You've been giving Christmas and anniversary and birthday presents for decades. You don't know what to do. Easy. Go to Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They got tons of solutions. If it's pendants or tennis bracelets or earrings or rings or timepieces or beautiful pens, writing utensils as well, there's a great option at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Check them out online at lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, y'all, glad to have you hanging out with us here. Still got a ton of football stuff. Sean Salisbury, a little more than an hour from right now. SportsCenter's coming up. We'll get you caught up on national headlines. When we come back, Stephen Milam, Ashton, Larson from the LSU baseball team, they're in our studio. Recap a little bit of how fall ball went. Get you set for the baseball season coming up. The guys have an autograph signing coming up tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. over at Twin Peaks on Seagan Lane in Baton Rouge. So make sure you get by and meet the guys. We'll talk to them next when we come back after SportsCenter. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, airline just north of Highland, or southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Southpointvw.com. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, maybe before the end of the year, you're thinking of buying that new vehicle. If you've never considered a Volkswagen, just put Volkswagen on your list. There's so many reasons to do it. They got great holiday specials going on right now. And with South Point Volkswagen, remember, you get all the style, the feel, the performance of luxury in a Volkswagen without the cost. You get the great German engineering, but manufactured in the U.S. of A. at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant, so you're supporting American jobs. And maybe best of all, for me, the 9 different IIHS top safety picks. Every time I drive my son to school, every time my wife buckles in her seat, her car, and drives to work, I have the peace of mind knowing we're driving the safest vehicles on the road. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance, with the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. ESPN's Todd Archer's reporting. Cowboys linebacker DeMarvion Overshone toward the ACL, MCL, and PCL in his right knee last night. He is scheduled for surgery this week. He will be the 13th Dallas player on injured reserve. A day after Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham reacted to receiver A.J. Brown's passing game criticism by suggesting the relationship between Brown and quarterback Jalen Hurts wasn't as good as it once was, Graham attempted to set the record straight. On the WIP morning show today, he apologized, attempted to walk back the comments, expressed optimism the team would emerge even stronger. Philly certainly doesn't need all this unnecessary noise going into Week 15, notes ESPN NFL analyst Jeff Saturday.
What do you think the Eagles are going to deal with the entirety of this week going into a massive game with the Pittsburgh Steelers? What's going on in your locker room? Is this going to be another implosion like last year? Can you guys hold it together? Nick Sirianni, what can you do to fix this? What can you do, A.J. Brown? What can you do, Hurts?
Steelers receiver George Pickens likely out Sunday against Philly because of a hamstring injury.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Wednesday, the great Mel Kiper Jr. joins us at 8:30 a.m. Eastern to look ahead to Week 15 in the NFL, as well as the college football playoffs. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Sean Salisbury, 1 hour from right now. LSU appears to be in the lead for one of the real premier receivers in the transfer portal. We'll get to that here in about 15 minutes or so. Always a good opportunity when you can catch up with a couple of LSU baseball Tigers that should factor in pretty prominently to the Tigers' success coming up here this spring. A couple of guys in their second year in Baton Rouge, Stephen Milam, Ashton Larson joining us in studio. The guys have an autograph signing tonight at Twin Peaks, 6 to 8 p.m., so a couple hours from right now. Make sure you get by. You can meet the guys, get some autographs. Fellas, how are you?
Good, and you?
Good?
Great.
Good? Year 2. Let me start with that, guys. Year 2 for both of you. Biggest difference, Stephen, I'll start with you, from what it was like a year ago at this point, finishing your first fall at LSU, to now being a guy that was a freshman All-America, one of the leaders on the team. What was the biggest difference for you?
Just maturing, I would say, growing up. You get that whole fall experience your freshman year, and, you learn from your failures, and you learn what to not and what to do, and how to go about your business and how to get your body right, and what to expect out of a full season. And like now I'm trying to get ready to play a full 75 games on the left side of the infield now. I'm probably not going to play second base this year, so
okay.
I gotta work on that side and get my body to be able to hold up all that over there.
Yeah, over here dropping nuggets before I even had to ask. So what are you like? What's it looking like then? How did that give us a sense of how it went in fall camp? Or in fall practice this year, did you work everywhere on the infield, or were you just at short? Where'd you go?
Yeah, all of us, me, Dickinson, and Braswell worked all three positions. And, Coach Johnson said he wants me on the left side of the infield this year. So, I'm going to make that transition to that side and see how it goes. I feel like I can go out every day and, prove to myself that I can play shortstop here. And, that's what I'm going to try and do.
Yeah. Ashton, what about you, man? I mean, you're a guy who, your emergence last year really coincided with the team kind of hitting their kick, right? So for you now, I'd imagine did you feel super confident coming in as a freshman that you were going to have a big impact as a freshman?
I always had a lot of belief in myself that I was going to be able to compete. I struggled a bit in the fall and made necessary adjustments, and then really those pinch hit at bats at the beginning of the year having success with those, really getting used to playing in those environments and that competition. Once I had success with that, I kind of built a process and was able to stick with it when I started starting. And yeah, just kept rolling with it.
What was the biggest crowd you ever played in front of?
Before? Or?
Yeah, before you got here to LSU.
When I was 12, I played for Team USA. Pitched in front of probably like 5,000-6,000.
Okay.
And that gold medal game was like 12,000. It was crazy in Taiwan. But besides that, like probably no more than 1,000 people.
So 12 years old, you're pitching in Taiwan?
Yes.
Like, all right, give me a sense of, I mean, so you're 7th grade?
7th grade.
Like 7th grade, I was playing over at Millerville Academy with like 30 people in the stands. You're pitching in front of 12,000 people in Taiwan? I mean, did that like one game season you for the SEC? Like, could you say, oh, I've done this before?
I mean, I definitely mentally have grown a lot since then, since being 12. But yeah, I mean, definitely getting that first experience of like pure adrenaline, like where your legs are like feel different, everything feels different. Like it definitely was a great first experience to be like, okay, this is way different than anything you've ever done before. And then coming here, playing in these environments is way different than probably any high school kid's ever done before.
Yeah, man. Steve, what about you? Like, what was the biggest crowd you played in front of before you got to LSU?
I would say probably like 10,000.
Okay, all right. So y'all played in some big environments.
Played in a gold medal game in Mexico when I was 15 against Panama, and we won it. So.
All right. So is this so we always have this narrative about the SEC, like for these guys who come to the SEC and they're used to playing high school ball. Then you go stand on the bump or you're in the box and there's 10,000 people you've never experienced before. Is that overblown a little bit? Would you say?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, you definitely have to get used to it. I mean, because it's every single day. Like those games, you're not playing day in and day out in those environments. But I mean, you definitely once you've done it once and you've got success in it, I feel like you have a good understanding of it. I don't know about.
Yeah, I mean, once you just get it under your belt, you don't really hear the fans. You just kind of lock in and get it done.
Did you hear the fans when you were hitting walk-offs at the end of last year? Every game?
Yeah, I did. I definitely did. It was a lot, kind of to take in. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'd rather be the last out than I'd rather take that shot than not.
Yeah.
So.
I think everybody that's a competitor wants to be in that spot. But I mean, I think that's one of the reasons so many people are excited about this team is you had a great core from last year. Young guys like y'all played great and are coming back, and a ton of great new bodies coming in as well. Let me ask you, and Ashton, Larson, Stephen Milam in studio with us. Let me ask you about some of the arms. Remember I asked Trey Morgan, and who else was in studio with us? Do you remember who was in here with Trey? I don't remember.
It's K. Doty.
It was K. Doty. Yeah. I don't know if you guys remember those guys, but they were in studio one year after fall ball, and I asked them, who was the new arm that they hated facing. Trey Morgan said Paul Gervais. And Paul was a 6'10", weird angle guy, just was filthy that year. What about y'all? Like, who's the new guy that you faced in fall that we haven't seen yet that was just filthy that you hated to face? Ashton, start with you.
So probably Connor Ware. He's a lefty. He's really, really good. Throws fastball, curveball, slider, like I don't know, like 94, 95.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Not bad.
94, 95, like just competes, is in the zone every time. He's got great off speed. It was tough at bat for sure.
Yeah. What about you?
I would say probably Zach Cowan.
Okay.
He just tried to change up us to death. I think he threw me like 6 or 7 and just one at bat. Like I didn't see anything else.
Zach was the pitcher who was the Friday night guy from Wofford last year, who LSU didn't see in the game that Stephen walked off. But he was, correct me if I'm wrong, he was in the pen, wasn't he, in that game? Like ready to come in. Have y'all talked about that at all? You got to.
Not really. I give him some crap because I was like, you like that walk off.
Okay, so you have. Yeah, I mean, like, dude, I'd have that game just on loop, right? Like every time in his locker, just put that in his locker on the right side now. Stephen Milam, Ashton, Larson are here with us. In a couple hours, they're going to be over at Twin Peaks on Segan signing autographs. I think it's $75 for a jersey, $50 for a ball. You could do meet and greets, take pictures, bring the kids out, meet the guys. Y'all like doing that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I do.
Getting to meet fans? I mean, it's just I'd imagine such a different thing at a place like LSU than most anywhere else because, like I tell people in media this all the time, the biggest difference here and so many other places is like, and what I do, guys, I can talk about a midweek pitching change and people here care. It's just not like that everywhere else. So, I mean, y'all enjoy that component of all the attention that comes along with being at LSU?
I mean, I do. I like I mean, I like to hear kind of when you suck too. Like it goes hand in hand. They'll let you hear it, but they'll praise you whenever you're doing good. And I mean, that's kind of what I came here for. Be the best player I can be, and you get the most support here, and they for sure will let you hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Like, you definitely get the feedback, and then, I mean, you're right, they do care, and especially, like, being able to make an impact on people, like little kids, like, they look up to you, being able to make a positive impact on those guys' life, like, that's different than anything you experience anywhere else.
Yeah,
so
man.
that's special. It's really cool.
A couple more for you guys. Both of you had such big impacts as a freshman. Ashton, was there a moment, either fall ball or early in the season, like a singular moment, an at-bat, a game, where you remember, okay, like that's where I felt like I belonged or I felt comfortable? Was there a moment like that for you last year?
I think there's a couple, but I took a pinch hit at bat with 2 outs in the 9th against Mississippi State when we were down, and I was down to my last strike. Like, everyone was on their feet. It was really loud, and, like, slowed everything down. Took pitches, drew a walk, and like from that point on, it was like, like I felt like I was in control. Felt like I could play in those crowds, those environments, and I felt really good about that.
What was the best environment you played in last year?
I did not like Mississippi State.
Yeah, Mississippi State was crazy.
What makes that so different?
That was our first series. Cowbells, flashing lights all in your face. Fans are letting you hear it worse probably than us.
The foul line, or the seats, are like some of the closest to the foul lines in the conference too. Like, they're like right next to you.
So that really, as an outfielder, I'd imagine as well that messes with you too. Just some of the dimensions of the park, and then also the fans being right there as well.
Yeah, you definitely can. The farther away they are, the louder they have to yell to be able to say stuff. And the closer they are, they can just kind of say whatever. Which, I mean, it's part of the fun of it too. Obviously, like, you can interact with different people.
That reminded me, have they made the changes yet down the lines at the box? What's it like playing there now? Can you just walk us through? I mean, as fans, we've talked about it literally since they built that park in 2009, but what's it like playing or practicing there now with the new dimensions?
I mean, as an infielder, you just got. I mean, if you hit a ball down the line, like, you could jump back to the second base or jump back to the shortstop now, because it's literally right on the lines and it goes in. So you're gonna have fans right next to us at shortstop, where you're at second base. You're gonna be able to hear them.
So essentially the first base bullpen is now
underneath under the student section.
Yes, in right field.
Yes.
So the access to the field, will it be through the fence or will it be from the side?
Through the fence.
So you come through the home bullpen will now come through the fence, but down the third base line they've kept.
It's still in the stands. So, like, it's behind the net now, but it's in the stands. So, like,
so wild.
Our fans will let them hear it some.
Oh, I believe so, man. It's going to be a different experience at the box, but it should be a lot of fun, man. I mean, you'll talk about expectations for the season. You'll talk about Omaha. I'd imagine that's a thing that's pretty vocal when y'all are among each other.
I mean, every year here you're going for a national championship. Like, there's nothing else. Like, that's the end of the question, really.
Yeah,
here,
that's understood.
Yeah,
like, when you come here, like, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into with that. So,
Ashton, Larson, Stephen Milam, a couple of guys entering their second season in Baton Rouge, finished up fall. Did y'all like playing the game in Biloxi, by the way?
I did.
You did?
A lot of fans. It was fun. It was a nice stadium, nice park.
I love the fact that you do inter-squad scrimmages in the fall. I mean, it's a great addition to go play against somebody else and see how that goes. A little moneymaker as well, getting over to play in Biloxi for the program. So really cool, fellas. Best of luck this season. Tons of success. Again, go catch these guys. If you're driving home tonight, they're going to be at Twin Peaks on Seagan from 6 to 8 p.m. doing autograph signing, picture taking. $75 for a jersey, $50 for baseball. Come take pictures, meet these guys, bring your kids. Let's support them. NIL is a great thing for student athletes like these guys. So support them, help them. Great time for Christmas as well. You want to get a Christmas present, get an autograph from some of these guys. You could do that tonight. Again, Twin Peaks on Seagan, 6 to 8 p.m. with Ashton Larson and Stephen Milam. Gents, it's a pleasure, man. Good luck this year. I'm sure we'll catch up down the road. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in. We're not got a quick break. We'll come back. LSU apparently in the lead for one of the big portal wide receivers. We'll get to that here in just a second on AFR.
After further review.
If you're buying or selling commercial or residential, you need a realtor, and you need a realtor. You need Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. That's agent225.com. Remember, working with Darren James, he's going to get your home sold guaranteed, as he likes to say. One of the things I love about working with Darren is Darren arms you with information on how to list your house, how to list your property, how to market your property. Like right now, there's this updated Baton Rouge market report that he's got on all of his social media. Like right now, you could look at the average median price per square foot in Baton Rouge, which is down from the previous week. So what you're starting to see is rates come down, prices are coming down, more buyers are coming into the market. It's a great time if you're looking to sell. If you need a realtor, you need Darren James. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Brack teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Brack, your #1 park system in the nation.
The best kept secret.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, rolling along. Glad you're with us, man. Big shout out, Ashton, Larson, Stephen, Milam. Thanks to the fellas for coming in. It's almost baseball season, man. I know a lot of people are excited. We'll get there. It's a gigantic time for football and roster building right now in the postseason for college, and NFL division races in postseason are coming up on us as well. But you're going to blink, and the Tigers are going to be back at the box there at the beginning of February, and it's going to be a good time, man. They're a loaded team, and we had an opportunity to get Steven and Ashton in studio. We're happy to do it. So y'all get out to see those guys tonight for their autograph signing over at Twin Peaks from 6 to 8 p.m. there on Segan. Pardon me. As the transfer portal cycle kind of continues to spin right now, and every day, seemingly every time you hit refresh on Twitter or one of the portal sites, another name has entered the portal. But soon we're going to start getting answers to a lot of questions of where these guys are going to go. We're learning more and more of players entering the portal. Pretty soon we're going to start learning of where these players who've entered the portal are going to land. And Pete Nakos from On3, who's, I mean, he and Hayes Fawcett right now are kind of the two guys at the forefront pushing all the portal news out. Pete Nakos has a prediction piece up at On3 right now where there's a handful of some of the premier portal targets and predicting where they're going to land. And one of them, Kentucky wide receiver Barian Brown, he's projecting to land at LSU. Now, if you're not familiar with Barian Brown, he's a guy that a couple of seasons ago was a freshman All-American and had a monster freshman year back in 2022 with Kentucky. 50 catches for 628 yards and 4 touchdowns, all in his freshman season there in Lexington. Last year, in 2023, another very productive year. 43 catches, 539, and 4 scores. And then this year, as we all know, Kentucky was dreadful. They were 1-7 in the league. They were one of the worst offenses in college football. They were the worst scoring offense in the SEC. And they were 111th nationally in passing offense. It just didn't work offensively for Kentucky this year, despite the fact that they had 2 really good and elite wide receivers. They just couldn't throw the football. So Barian Brown hit the portal, and according to Pete Nakos, this is a guy that he is projecting is going to land at LSU. Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Florida State were all in the mix. More on that here in just a second. He's 6'1", 182. And according to On3, they estimate he'd command between $650K and $1 million in the portal. So there's 2 components of this. One is what it's going to take to land a guy like Barian Brown, and the 2 is what a guy like that would mean to LSU if you do push it across the finish line. We might get the number, whatever that is, if Barian Brown does in fact land at LSU. But just looking at that range, the 650 to $1 million, assuming that's correct, and I don't know if it is, I'll be transparent. Look, I've shared numbers with y'all, and you know if I have them and I'm comfortable sharing the information, it's good information, I will. I don't know what they might be offering Brown or any transfer target right now. But what that suggests is LSU is fishing in the deep end. You know, I've shared this info with you before. The 2024 LSU football roster, the highest paid player from the collective was Will Campbell at $500,000. Look, most people will never sniff $500,000 in a year. You can work 365 days. Most are never going to get there. Will Campbell at 18 as a left tackle in college made it for 1 year. Not bad money if you can get it, right? But it's all relative compared to what other people are making around the country. And some of the numbers that you hear thrown around. And the problem LSU had a year ago is while they wanted some of those bigger names in the portal, they missed. And 2 years ago, you might remember, like LSU went after Braden Fisk from Western Michigan, and they couldn't reel him in. He ended up at Florida State. Florida State, as I understood it that year, their NIL offer doubled LSU's. And so there were a lot of you who were not happy with me 2 years ago when I was pretty consistently telling you LSU didn't have the money to spend. And that was a reality LSU was facing. I mean, remember the context of the time. LSU paid Ed Ogeron $17 million to go away. They had to pay his staff as well. It totaled nearly $20 million. You had to pay Jay Johnson after winning a national championship. You had to pay Kim Mulkey after winning a national championship. You had to pay Matt McMahon and guarantee him a 7-year contract. I mean, it was a very expensive time. And then it's, we got to pay the players too. And you're trying to knock on the same doors. And it was tough. It was very difficult for LSU in collective fundraising early in NIL. And I was someone who said that often. And a lot of you know who you are, pointing the finger at me. Trying to act like I didn't know what I was talking about. Trust me, I knew what I was talking about. But LSU has turned a corner. And they went from early in NIL not having money to getting organized under Bayou Traditions, and now with TAF taking over the fundraising efforts for Bayou Traditions, really accelerating the contributions to where now they may not be the richest, but they ain't the poorest. And it's more of how you allocate those funds that's going to be interesting. So a couple of years ago, you couldn't. Last year, you wouldn't. You could have gotten Dominic Williams, the defensive lineman from TCU, for $1.2 million. You're like, not doing that. Okay. Well, now you've learned the lesson. Now you're armed with money to spend. Will you actually spend it and bring in the top tier players at positions of need? If they land a guy like Barian Brown, who has, according to 24/7, they rate him as the 6th best receiver in the portal. On3 rates him as the 4th best receiver in the portal. Again, a former freshman All-America who's been a 3-year starter in the SEC and a highly productive player. He is the exact type of player we're talking about that LSU has to add. When you look at receiver, Kyron Lacey's gone, CJ Daniels is gone, Mason Taylor's gone. You lose 3 of your top 4 pass catchers.
Mason Taylor!
Shelton Sampson, Landon Ibieta are also in the portal. You return Aaron Anderson at a very nice season this year. You return Xavion Thomas. We'll see about Chris Hilton. Kyle Parker's coming off of injury. You just don't have a lot of certainty there. And you're trying to get Garrett Nussmeier back. Well, I'm telling you, there's 3 things that Garrett Nussmeier is going to want to know if he returns. Who's calling plays? Who's blocking for me? And who am I throwing to? You got to answer those 3 questions before Garrett Nussmeier's like, yep, let's go. Let's run it back. Because if he don't know who's calling plays and he's got a ragtag offensive line where you lose 4 starters and you lose 3 of your top 4 pass catchers and you didn't replace them, why would you come back? Why would you come back to get your head kicked in and lose and hurt your draft stock? So answer those 3 to the affirmative. And I think Garrett Nussmeier comes back. Getting a guy like Barian Brown would be a massive part of that. Now, one other thing about Barian Brown that's worth mentioning, it's kind of the circumstance at Kentucky that's worth mentioning. So remember, in 2021, Kentucky's offensive coordinator was Liam Cohen. They had a lot of success with Liam Cohen. Well, Cohen left to go to the Rams, go to the NFL. And so in 2022, as a freshman for Barian Brown, Rick Scangarello was their offensive coordinator. After 2022, Liam Cohen came back. And then after 1 year at Kentucky, he went back to the NFL. And so in 2024, Bush Hamdan was the offensive coordinator, and that was a disaster this year. So this will be, wherever Barian Brown goes, it will be his 4th offensive coordinator in as many seasons in college. So that's just something worth filing away. But LSU's got to get pass catchers. We've talked about it. You're going to hear me say it. There's wants and needs and musts. Tight end, wide receiver are very, very solidly in the musts category. And with Kamori and Pimpton going into the portal, you probably need 2 tight ends. And you've got to get at least 1 top-tier elite receiver. Not a body, not a guy that's played a little, a guy that's been a number 1 receiver in the SEC for 3 years, like Barian Brown. We'll see if you can land him. But Pete Nakos from On3 projecting Barian Brown will land at LSU. When we learn, we'll pass it along to you. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad you're hanging out. We're brought to you by Optimize, GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. When you live in Louisiana, you know it's not a matter of if, it's when. It's not a matter of if the power is going to go out, it's when the power goes out. And the worst time to think about a generator or prepare for a generator is when there's a storms in the Gulf or when the storm's here and the power goes out. Because then it's too late. So call Optimize now. GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. Go to GeneratorPeople.com. There's 4 physical locations. They service the entire 1012 corridor across South Louisiana. So from Lake Charles to Slidell, everywhere in between. Their newest physical location is in Kenner, right off of I-10. Like you take the Loyola exit like you're going to the airport. I mean, it's right there off the exit. So greater New Orleans, greater Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles, and all the surrounding areas. Optimize. GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. Remember, they got the price quote guarantee. The price they quote you is it. You're not going to have later surprise fees or charges added on. The price they quote you is it. They have turnkey installation where they handle everything. They'll talk to the electric company. They'll handle permitting with the city. They do all of it. And, of course, a $600 down payment and financing for any budget so you stay in control of your finances. It's optimized. GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. Okay, Sean Salisbury in 30 minutes. We're looking forward to having Sean with us. As always, I want to talk to him a lot about Derek Carr's injury, fractured hand, non-throwing hand. How might that affect a quarterback? Bring the decision to bring in Ben DiNucci this week. Do you go Rattler? Do you go Haener? We'll talk a lot of that. And then we'll talk about the decision Garrett Nussmeier's got to make here. With the season over, does Nussmeier make a decision to come back to school? Does he go pro with all the portal? What are you considering? We'll delve into all that with Sean Salisbury about 30 minutes from right now. Speaking of quarterbacks, Lane Kiffin, who is never one to bite his tongue, Lane Kiffin had a very, very interesting take on the process of signing quarterbacks now. And I want to share that with you next. And I think this is going to shed some great perspective on the Bryce Underwood situation and LSU's path forward, all that stuff. I'll tie it all together when we return. It's AFR.
After further review.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You've been injured in an accident. It's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. Hey, there's always great content from members of the G team. And a video they got up right now, it's awesome, is a little sit-down, excerpts from a sit-down with Emory Jones. Of course, Emory Jones polishing off an all-SEC season this year. Probably, most likely, headed off to the NFL, but we'll see the decision. Emory's part of the G team, another local athlete who stayed home, went to LSU, and Gordon was thrilled to support. So, you want to see the sit-down with Emory Jones, you go to GordonGives.com. You'll see the link to all the G team interviews. You go to any of Gordon's socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. It's all right there. @GetGordon is the handle on all social medias, @GetGordon. If you've been injured, you know what to do. Go to getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off the newly designed Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Listen, every time heretofore people mention Bryce Underwood or Oracle, it's going to elicit a certain kind of response. I saw this this morning. Oracle stock was down almost 14%. So I screen grabbed it, tweeted it, and said, lesson learned here. Don't overpay for unproven high school quarterbacks. Get your rim shot, baby. Thank you. Yeah. I thought it was good. I actually put that on Twitter, and I was afraid people weren't going to get it and think that it was just being sour about Underwood. It was really a joke. But most people got it, as I understand through some of the comments and the replies. Most people thought it was funny and laughed. So good on you, Twitter, for getting the joke. Okay. But speaking of Bryce Underwood, I thought about that when I read this from Lane Kiffin. So I think this was an interview he did. I'm trying to see where the interview was. This might have been at a press availability. It doesn't say specifically, so I'm going to assume this was a media availability. And Ole Miss this year polished off a top 15 signing class, but they didn't sign a quarterback. And Lane Kiffin seems A-okay with that. And forgive me, it says this was at his signing day press conference. So he talked about the quarterback market and NIL payments. And Kiffin said, I'm going to quote Lane Kiffin. I've said now for 2 years, you have to be really careful with that with high school quarterbacks. Sometimes we're on a guy and the price gets too high. That's the world we live in now, and you have salary caps. When you put a ton of money into that, it's such a transfer position that usually doesn't play in year one. And look around the country. What you're about to see coming up here. You're going to see a lot of these high-priced guys from a year ago go in the portal. So they just blew all that money. A guy we're recruiting, when the price gets too high and the other school wants to pay him, it doesn't really fit in the salary cap model of retention over time. How interesting is that? Especially with context of Bryce Underwood. And maybe it helps looking at it through the prism of somebody else's eyes. Like, as much as I know it sucks sinking all the resources LSU did into recruiting Bryce Underwood and having him right up until the very end. Listen to what Lane Kiffin said. And by the way, he's right. The point I made the day we learned of that flip when I sat here was, do you want Bryce Underwood? Of course you do. But at what cost? At some point, you have to step away from the table and realize that's not fiscally responsible to invest that type of resource, that percent of your cap, I'm using air quotes there, cap, into one player who may not even factor into your plans in year one. Like, he points out, Julian Sayin signed with Alabama left. Former four-star Devin Brown already announced he's hitting the portal. 5 stars from the class of 2023. Dante Moore has gone from UCLA to Oregon. Malachi Nelson is now the backup at Boise State. Jackson Arnold now in the portal as well. Very likely to land at Mississippi State. In 2023, Eli Holstein left Alabama, went to Pitt, as we know. Jaden Rashada went from Florida to Arizona State to Georgia. Walker Howard left LSU to Ole Miss. Now he's at ULL. Taven Jackson, Malik Murphy, Brady Allen, big names that have gone in the portal. Connor Wegman's left Texas A&M, all guys from that 2023 cycle. The point is, and Kiffin said again, quote, we're kind of new age in analytics and salary cap and roster management. A lot of people still do the same thing. We have to sign this many people in this position and pay them whatever it takes. And Kiffin said he's not going to do that. So I get it. I get it that you want that guy. But aside from the optics, like if you've got a billionaire in your back pocket whose wife wants a quarterback, and so here you go, here's 12 mil. Cool. That's not the reality for everybody. And percentages show you that's not the best path forward. We've gone through all the different players currently, the teams currently in the playoff. I mean, look around. Oregon, Dylan Gabriel, transfer. Texas, Quinn Ewers, transfer. We go down the list. Notre Dame, Riley Leonard, transfer. I mean, it's just the nature of college football. So, I mean, it's one thing to hear me say it. I think we'd all agree, Lane Kiffin, regardless of what you think about Lane Kiffin and what he puts on Twitter and the personality and all that stuff, like, we can all agree Lane Kiffin is a good offensive mind and a good quarterback coach, right? I mean, we can all agree on that. That is something that makes sense. I think there's some universal acceptance there. And Lane Kiffin's telling you, sometimes we're on a guy, the price gets too high, so where we live in now, we have salary caps. So you walk away. And this is an Ole Miss team that's building its roster with NIL and through the portal. And that's what they're continuing to do. Now, maybe they hit. Austin Simmons looks impressive, and that may be a guy that is the heir apparent to Jackson Dart and starts next year in his second year in Oxford and has a great time. But they thought the same thing in Norman about Jackson Arnold. And now he's in the portal. He's probably going to land at Mississippi State with Jeff Lebby. So I saw it today and just thought it was something I would share because that was a comment from last week. I just missed it last week. I just saw it today. It's a comment that Lane Kiffin made about the approach to quarterbacks, effectively saying, while in your mind think you got to sign a high school quarterback every year. And I agree, you have to add a quarterback every year. Like, you can't go into a season with fewer than 4 scholarship quarterbacks. You've got to have a quarterback every year. But the idea of you got to sign an elite high school quarterback is probably one going the way of the dodo because of what it's going to cost and the improbability of them staying, as evidenced by everything we've seen. It's better, saying, to put those resources into a veteran quarterback in the portal that can help you win now. Maybe that's a path LSU is going to follow. I'll continue to say, I don't know the right answer. None of us knows the right answer. All we can do is look at the situation that's presented as it's unfolded and make our decisions based on the evidence, the growing sample of evidence. Before this past season, when we talked about LSU and Ole Miss, we said, all right, well, Brian Kelly and Lane Kiffin are taking 2 very different approaches on building a roster. Brian Kelly said, I want to build through the high school ranks and supplement in the portal. Lane Kiffin is like, we're going ham in the portal. Okay, 2 very different, like win now. Those are 2 very different approaches. And both were met with mixed results. LSU was 8-4, Ole Miss was 9-3. LSU beat Ole Miss. Kind of a wash, quite honestly. Okay, so the truth is probably somewhere in between. And that's what's going to be fascinating for me to see how it all plays out, both at quarterback and other spots as well. To see, all right, one thing that I will give Brian Kelly a lot of credit for, and he has had missteps during his time at LSU, and I've named them. Hiring Brian Polian as his recruiting coordinator was a mistake. Not retaining Corey Raymond was a mistake. Very clearly, he missed on Matt House as his defensive coordinator. That cost you the opportunity to be in the playoff a year ago. Not being more aggressive and more willing to spend in the portal last year cost you defensively. Like there are missteps. To his credit, however, he hasn't doubled down on them. He's fixed them. Polian was out after year one. Frank Wilson was in that role. You brought Corey Raymond back. Last year, you should have spent more, been more aggressive in the portal. This year, you've got your coffers full, and you say you're going to do it. We'll go see how they do. Like, again, it's an evolving process. You're building the bridge as you cross it, and they're willing to be malleable and change as you move across. But I think one of the things that we're going to see is probably less of a focus on targeting elite-level high school quarterbacks. You're still going to sign them, and you're going to recruit them, but you're certainly not going to overpay for them. It almost feels like, tell me if this makes sense, it almost feels like where the NFL got, where they ultimately capped rookie contracts. And Jamarcus was the tipping point. I mean, Jamarcus got a $60 million contract, and he was a total bust. And so the NFL capped rookie deals and said, you know what? We're going to, instead of overpaying rookies that haven't played, we're going to give more money to the veterans, and we're going to cap rookie deals. And I think you might see something similar. Like all the money that's being sunken into recruiting the high school classes, I think you're going to start to see less money go into the high schoolers and more go into portal and roster retention for the veterans who are helping you win now. It feels like that's an evolution we're going to see, and I think it's probably going to happen mostly at the most important position on the field in quarterback. Bryce Underwood's going to be a fascinating test case. When we fast forward in 3 years and see what his career looks like at Michigan or somewhere else, we may all look back and go, good thing you didn't pay that dude $1.5 million a year. We'll see. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out. Let me knock out our final break here of hour number 2. We'll come back. Muse will have Tigers in the Pros. Sean Salisbury in 15 minutes. It's AFR.
AFR.
Moving toward the holiday season. Y'all, we're moving toward the new year. Let me remind you again. If you're thinking about a pool, maybe you'd love to build an outdoor kitchen. I'll tell you, that was one of the best decisions that we ever made at our house. The house we bought had a pool. The pool needed to be renovated and updated. By the way, Duplessis can do that as well. Maybe you bought a house that has a pool, but it's dated, needs to be modernized and updated. Duplessis can do that for you as well. We had to do that when we bought the house, but also we added an outdoor kitchen, which I love the outdoor kitchen. Almost every day of my life, I spend time out there watching TV, just enjoying the weather, the outdoor space. Build your backyard paradise, your getaway, your getaway while at home. Duplessis Builders can make that happen. And start now. Look, the design and permitting process, then getting on the schedule and actually executing the work, that takes months. And they're very upfront about that process. So start that process today at duplessisbuilders.net.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Coming up, hour number 2. Y'all get to sunnyquip.com, sunnyquip.com. You want a Deere? Only one place to get it, Bunkie and below. Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana, sunnyquip.com. Muso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, we start with Jamar Chase. He
let's
was
do that.
everywhere on Monday Night Football. If you're watching the game, you didn't miss him. We'll just start with the receiving. 18 targets, caught 14 of them for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns, a long of 40. He also had 1 rush attempt, gained 14 yards on that, and even made a tackle last night when Joe Burrow threw an interception. Impacting the game in all phases, that Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Now, Joe Burrow, on the other hand, also really, really good. 33 out of 44, 369, 3 touchdowns, and that aforementioned interception. Was sacked twice in the ballgame. The Bengals got the victory, 27-20. They needed that one.
Chase, by the way, leads the NFL in catches, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. On pace for the receiving triple crown this year.
Really, really good.
That's pretty good.
One more.
Doesn't stink.
Doesn't stink. One more NFL note here. Deion Jones back in the NFC South. Adam Schefter reports that the veteran linebacker is signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers practice squad. Bucs dealing with multiple injuries at linebacker. Deion Jones, 30 years old, most recently with the Bills in their offseason program, was released late in August. Of course, spent time with the Carolina Panthers in 2023 and was a second-round pick out of LSU from the Falcons there in 2016.
Okay, so I'm excited for Deion Jones. I'm not excited that he's back in the division.
Yeah, no.
Let's just be clear.
He was really, really good with the Falcons back in the day there. And last, but certainly not least,
he intercepted Drew Brees every time they played.
He did. A baseball note. Austin Nola. We haven't had one of those in a minute.
You're welcome, Muse.
There you go. Signed a minor league contract with the Colorado Rockies. Turned 35 years old later this month. Did earn a non-roster invite to Rocky Spring Training Camp as well as part of the deal. It's been a great career so far, man. I mean, look, you look at Nola last year, spent time with the Brewers and the Royals. Before that was with the Padres. He's really, really ended up with a really nice, moving from infield to catcher, has turned into a great major league career for him. Hopefully, he makes it back up to the show in Colorado. That's Tigers in the pros.
Get a sip of Evermore, Muse.
There you go.
Celebrate Austin Nola. Celebrate Muse getting to do baseball stories and using the word roster.
There you go.
Don't worry, Muse. You don't have to talk while I take a sip. We're good.
You normally do the sip for sound effect and all that. Normally you go right after it. Like that. Roster. I love when we get to do baseball stuff.
Saw that last night. I was like, send this to Muse.
Appreciate it.
So I get to yell, Kai! And then take a sip of Evermore. 2 of the best things that Louisiana has to offer. Catholic High and Evermore. The best high school in the state, the best water company in the state. How about that? How you like that, Muse? Peas in a pod.
Look, Evermore,
Evermore.
The evidence supports it.
EVAMOR. And Catholic High, the evidence supports it. Muse. Catholic High has blades of grass on campus older than your alma mater. Shut up. Okay.
I'm not denying that.
Muse. Yes. Drink Evermore. Wherever you buy bottled water. Don't drink that crappy, crinkly plastic water bottle from Texas. Muse supports Texas. Boo this man. Boo him roundly out of this state. Drink Evermore. You know what I need to do? I need to get my friends over at Evermore to bring you just a pallet of Evermore. Just drop it on your desk. Say, take this, Muse. Get rid of that crap that you drink.
I wouldn't say no.
I know you would. Because there's one thing I know about radio people. They love free stuff. That is certainly symptomatic of this industry. It's like a sixth sense. Put free food somewhere in this building, like bloodhounds after it. It's gone in a millisecond. A commercial where the guy's writing the angry letter about getting his pudding back. You know that one?
No, I do not know that.
Don't worry about it, Muse. Some people know what I'm talking about. Drink Evermore. This was the most random live read I've ever done for Evermore. Evermore.com. All right, Sean Salisbury's here. Kickoff hour number 3. Ton of foosball to talk about. We'll do it next with Sean Salisbury on AFR.
AFR.
If you're thinking of buying land, you already know. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Start at the website, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. So many reasons to do business with First South Farm Credit. I love telling you about the patronage refund, which effectively lowers your cost of borrowing. Every year, for 3 decades now, First South Farm Credit writes a check back to its borrowers. They share in their profits, effectively lowering your cost of borrowing. This year, $25.5 million they refunded to their borrowers. Maybe you're looking to buy that hunting property. Maybe you're thinking of moving. Maybe you live in New Orleans, growing your family, thinking of moving to the North Shore. You need that piece of land to build your dream home. Our friends at First South Farm Credit can make it happen. Start at firstsouthland.com. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi, breaking baseball news from ESPN's Jeff Passan. Former Braves ace Max Fried and the Yankees agreed on an 8-year, $218 million contract. It is the largest guarantee in MLB history for a left-handed pitcher. Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham today apologized and walked back last night's comments regarding that the relationship between quarterback Jalen Hurts and receiver A.J. Brown wasn't as good as it once was. Graham was responding to Brown's passing game criticism post-game Sunday. Don't expect any of this to go away quickly for Philadelphia, notes ESPN's Dan Graziano.
They play for a team that this time last year was completely collapsing internally after a 10-1 start. And all year there have been questions about, could that happen again? It looked like they were answering those questions in a good way. They can do it. Like, they're good players, they're good coaches, like they can manage this. But I think the story of their season now becomes, how do you recover from this? How do you manage this?
Coach Nick Sirianni told 94 WIP he doesn't believe Brown was pointing fingers at Hurts, took it as they want to get better as a passing attack, and AJ's certainly a part of that.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Make sure your family is well taken care of with life insurance. Protect your phones, laptops, and more with electronic device insurance. And cover your furry friends with pet health insurance.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right. Woo!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt. Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
So. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. Get a chance to do it every Tuesday. Spend a couple of segments chopping it up with our guy Sean Salisbury. I'll get him on Twitter at X at Sean Unfiltered. Appreciate it as always, man. How are you? I don't
my
hear.
mic. There you go. I was muted.
There we are.
You didn't want my bully barking when I came on here and saying hi to you. I'm doing great.
I had a
Good to be
throwback.
on with you.
I had a throwback to all those COVID year Zooms where people were talking and my mics are there. You got
trying to tell them, hey, your mic's muted.
Your mic's. Yeah. Hey, man. I want to start with the Saints because there's been some, obviously, some quarterback news here. Let me start. I want to talk about Ben DiNucci and I want to talk about Rattler Hayner and what direction they go and all that stuff. But let me ask you your feelings on the play because there's been some conversation on that where Derek Carr got injured. So it was 2nd and 10. The Saints were up 3. There's 4 minutes to go. He scrambles and he goes airborne. It's a risky play. On one hand, I love him going all out for his teammates. On the other hand, like, it was 2nd down. It wasn't like the game was on the line right there. What was your thought on the play itself, Sean, just from a quarterback's perspective?
And I think from a quarterback standpoint, there's two things. In his mind, the game is on the line, right, Matt? 4 minutes, up 3, anything, especially in this league. And if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, you'll find a way to somebody will boink one off the upright and it'll land in the stands and come back and land in your hand and you'll score a touchdown. I guess that happens when you're a good team, but I get it. But I've said this before, and you got to be judicious with it. Especially, you're no good to me on the sidelines, but Derek, the toughness of it, I think that it resonates with teammates. But And I'm with you. So I lean on both sides, and I'll tell you why. 1 second and 10. And I'm trying, and I watched it, Matt, and I rewatched it also when it happened live, and you see the replay is how many yards before he jumped. Do you remember the exact yards he had before he left his feet? I'm trying to think of where it was. Maybe 3 or 4, right?
No. So he ends up getting 9 on the play.
Yes, no, 9 on the play, but I'm talking about before he left his feet. You know what I'm saying?
No, he was he was 7 or 8 because he just kind of jumped into the defender.
So when he left, there was about 2 more yard and a half or so to get the first down before he landed, right?
That's fair.
So my point is, at that point in time, I don't need you. I say, listen, we'll have 2 downs if we want to,
right?
Or you're 2 downs if we want to in the territory. So when you get the 6 or 7, even if you decide you want to get the first down and then bam, automatic 4 downs without having to risk a 3rd down call or possible 4th down call, there's no need to leave your feet. Just lower shoulder and go through them, right? But at least when you're there, once, and I say this about guys when there's a time and a place to take the shots and take it. I just don't think he needed to leave his feet. So if you get me 7 out of it, and we're in a situation where it's 3rd and 1, then we still got our arsenal of plays and possible 2 downs if we want it, even though we have the lead. And I know you're trying to salt it away. It's part of that 4-minute drill. But, Matt, I'll tell you what happens when you leave the pocket or go make a play, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know, is a different emotion kicks in, right? It's like, okay, I'm in this position, and then you become a reactor as opposed to, things are happening fast. You say, well, let me get over it. And it's the hero thing, even though it's not an ego thing. It's the hero thing around your teammates, and you get fired up. How many times you see a quarterback do something like that or run through somebody, and it's almost like a turnover for defense where it's like, wow, bam, and there's a different energy. So I get all the thinking that goes with it. I don't think he needed to leave his feet. Okay. In the situation where he'd already gained a bunch of yards, you had another down, and you had a chance to sew it away there. But you're not thinking that as a competitive quarterback in that. That has to be something, okay, if I'm faced with it, most of the time, you're like, I got to go get this. And so I get it. I just don't think he needed to leave his feet. But I do understand why he did it and what his thinking was. But the problem is now you put us in a situation now, the risk of getting hurt, and it happens on every play. I get it. Yeah. And it's unfortunate that it happened. I love the toughness. I would never tell him. I don't ever want to back somebody off on being that type of guy with that type of mentality. But I also think that there's that part where you put your arm around and say, we don't need you to make every play. We already gained 6 or 7, another yard or so. We can sew it up and let the guys who do that for a living do it and stay out of harm's way without, adding to the harm. There's enough harm with 11 guys on defense than leaving your feet and the risk of coming down. Anything can happen. But how am I going to tell a competitive player with 4 minutes to go and you want to sew it up and you've had those ups and downs this season, and he's been banged up obviously this year as well. How do I tell him not to do that? You just got to be wiser. And I think the next time, just don't leave your feet and get as much as you can, get down or take on a guy with your shoulder pad. And then if we need another yard and we got 2 downs to do it if we want, or 1, and whether we kick it or whether we go for it and put it away. But it's hard to tell a guy to back off emotion in those situations when you're reacting to a defense.
Can he play with a hand fracture?
On his non-throwing hand?
Non-throwing
you can.
Hand. Okay.
Yeah, you can.
What's that like?
Now, it comes down, Matt, it'll come down to this. It comes down to, and it's fortunate for him now because you don't want to just be an all-time right-handed running team, right, Matt? Which was because he's right-handed, you would want either stretch plays to the left, or if you were running RPO or some, it's going to cross your face right to the right. But when you have to use your left hand, whether you were in a pistol or under center and you're running stretch or inside zone, the left hand, depending on how the threshold, how heavily it's taped and what the threshold of pain is, and we've seen guys do it all the time, the opposite hand handoff, right? And then, they wrap it up and you try to pad it up. So depending on what they do now, listen, he's still going to give you the best chance to win among the other guys, even at 80% or 85%. And you would just have to get creative with how you were able to hand the ball off using your strong hand, which is your throwing hand. So to me, if he's not playing, it's a pain threshold thing. Because if you can at least hold 2 hands and grip it, you can hand off to the guy with your right hand both ways. But if you can handle it and it's not too cumbersome, whether the pad job or the tape job, and you can handle the threshold, then you do it and you're just cognizant of it. And you got to be aware of it, obviously, when you leave the pocket or what have you. But you can with a fracture. You absolutely can, depending on his pain threshold.
Sean Salisbury's with us. So that's kind of the conversation this week. So they signed Ben DiNucci, and do Do you go Rattler, Haener? Could Carr play if he doesn't practice? I guess that's the real question, Sean. Like, let's just say it's complete rest week for Derek Carr. They just try to get him to go for Sunday. You confident running him out there with 0 practice this week?
I am. Now, like I said, listen, confident meaning confident that he can go out there and compete, not overly confident in what the result will end up being for the overall team right now. It's Washington this week, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
Jaden's kind of, yeah. I don't need – listen, at this stage of the season and this stage of the career, the guy is an accurate passer of the football. I honestly, and I know this fall on some deaf ears or people like, no way. Certain veterans in certain amount of time, do I really need Derek Carr to go through Wednesday? As long as he's mentally out there and into the game plan, they're going to run their base stuff and then add a few things, and he'll have his input. But do I really need him throwing slant routes and slant routes on a Thursday in practice? Now, the first month of the season, everybody's getting into rhythm. But at this stage of the season, there comes a point in time, hence while the 49ers, when they were winning championships with Young and Montana and Bill Walsh and Seifert and that group, they in the second half of the season, I know it's not exactly comparable, but they weren't full pads. They from like week says was it Steve like week 8 or 9 or what have you on, and Denny Green when he came to Minnesota did the same thing with us. We didn't do a lot of pad and physical practice because you want to save their legs. And it's the same thing here. And we didn't. It was rare. Now, and if we did put pads on, it was for a practice, for the big fellas in a 9-on-7 drill in run game. Our 15-play run game script. And then you take the pads off, and you would put the shells on in a jersey, and leave the pads to the sidelines. That late in the season, because what's more important now? Is it fresh leg? You're physical enough. Now we're trying the attrition. We want fresh legs. And the 49ers were always fresh under those groups with Tom Rathman and Roger Craig and Rice. They were always fresh at the end of the year, and they were always in it. So what comes first? Now veteran teams that can handle it and really good teams. I'll bet you anything. Andy Reid's teams aren't practicing in pads very much right now. Hell, Isaiah Pacheco doesn't need to. He's wearing you out in shorts and a T-shirt anyway, as physical as he is. So I don't think – listen, I don't subscribe to having to be a regular thing, but if you're saying he can play – it's not the old, a rookie, if you don't practice, you're not playing. Like in high school, coach said, hey, get good grades, and if you don't practice, you don't play. This is different. Even back when I was a rookie, Kenny Easley, he didn't practice. And this, honest to God truth, his legs were so, his ankles and stuff, and Ease is a Hall of Famer, but nobody had a problem with it. Training camp, he'd practice once a day, sometimes wouldn't practice at all. Chuck Knox didn't want him to. He'd kind of go around and coach, put his head in there, help the younger players, and on Sunday, he ran at you like a scalded dog. We did, and nobody complained because guess what? It's Kenny Easley. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying Easley's Carr, but he's a veteran and been in the league a decade or what have you. And we needed Kenny we didn't need a practice field All-American. We needed Sunday Kenny Easley knocking the hell out of somebody. So with Carr, if it was a rookie, yeah, you need to work, or a second-year guy. But Carr's had enough reps. I'm not worried about his ability to throw a slant route on time with anticipation, and his timing's fine. If he doesn't play well, I assure you it won't because he didn't practice. It'll be because whether it's pain threshold or Washington's just better and he's having one of those days. So at this stage of the season, fresh and healthy matters more to me than a young guy getting reps. He's not a young guy. He's seen enough of it.
Sean Salisbury, let me not get a break. We'll come back. I do want to ask the follow-up, which is Rattler Haener. If they do go that direction, they go back to Rattler, do they start Haener and give him a look? I'll ask Sean that as we continue. You want to get a thought from Sean also on Jaden Daniels. My goodness, the season Joe Burrow is having right now as well. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, two amazing hotel properties. The Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown. Of course, the Renaissance is the LSU football home away from home, the Friday before every home game. The entire LSU football program moves in to the Renaissance Hotel. Tons of guest rooms to host the entire team, and of course, meeting space for everything they need. Team meals, breakout rooms for position group meetings. Think of that in terms of whatever event you have coming up, either around the holidays or in Q1 of 2025 or beyond. You need their grand ballroom, which can accommodate up to 500 people for a fundraiser, for a gala, an awards banquet. They can do it there at the Renaissance Hotel. Maybe you need a smaller conference room for a dozen people. They have that and everything in between. Wedding receptions. My goodness, it's a beautiful place, conveniently located right there in Bluebonnet near I-10. It's the Renaissance Hotel. The Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown. Check them out. It's the Renaissance Hotel.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environment.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Big shout out, Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. SunnyQuip.com, SunnyQuip.com. Awesome people, man. I love doing deals with our friends over at Sunshine. Always love having Sean Salisbury with us. Get him on Twitter X at Sean Unfiltered. Catch him every weekday morning over on Sports Talk 790 there in Houston. Of course, Tutors Quarterbacks does an awesome job, man. We always appreciate our time with Sean Salisbury. Sean, when we left, we were talking a little bit about the decision that the Saints have to make this week if Derek Carr can play with the fracture hand. If the Saints do go with Rattler or Haener, the kind of question is, which way do you go? Rattler started the 3 games Carr missed earlier. Mixed reviews. Haener's there as well. Do you give Haener a crack? Do you go back to Carr to Rattler? What do you think?
And I know they ran Haener out there when Carr got hurt last week.
Right.
Man, I'm gonna think unconventional here for a second. That I'm unconventional whack job anyway, but. No, people are going to say, what do you mean you're going to think that way, Sean?
No.
Once in a while. That's who you are, you clown. Let me ask you a question first.
Okay.
And let me reverse it, and then I'm going to give you my answer.
All right.
What's the buzz in the city about let's just say they weren't going to draft a quarterback, right? So let's remove that. Let's just say they don't feel like the future was there between you and I. But in there, let's say they did believe it, that the future was in the building. Who would it be right now?
So
and take Carr out of it, and you're not
Right.
drafting. What would be the buzz around the city about we're going to live with one of these two at starting quarterback? Who would they choose right now in the fan base?
Undeniably, the first go-round, it was Rattler. Everybody wanted to see Rattler. But he struggled, so it feels like that's cooled a little bit now, which is why you've heard more people get into the, hey, go draft a quarterback. But, Sean, that's where I'm asking you, like, hey, but a 3-game sample size for a rookie behind a bad offensive line and no weapons? Like, what should we really make of that?
And you and I, just so the fans know, we have not talked about this.
Yeah.
You and I are on the exact same page, right? When you said it, when I was thinking about it, about when you went to break is, well, are we really going to judge a guy that's not on the Kansas City Chiefs, on Saints who got good players, but they've struggled this year, and that's well noted and documented, on a 3-game sample size? From a guy who was supposed to be the first pick of the draft, struggled, transferred, rejuvenated his career at South Carolina. And think about when he was drafted, people were excited, thought, man, this could be a chance where we got a first-round type talent in the mid-rounds, right? So that's the thinking. First of all, to say that the guy is a bust after 3, and I don't know how we call a mid-round pick a bust, but that you got to draft somebody because after 3 games is absurd. Just like if he played 3 great games, we're not calling him Joe Burrow, okay? A slower roll both ways. Our expectations are absurd. I'm included in it. We all are, as a fan base and media and all of us. Coaches know a little bit better about this. They know when you throw a rookie out there or a second-year guy or what have you that hasn't played much, you know that you're going to go through some growing pains. So it is absurd. Hell, Carolina was ready to, fans ready to Bryce Young trade him after one. It's starting to pay off a little bit. He's playing better on not a great team, but they're getting better, and Canales has got him going pretty good. So my answer to you is, and the reason I asked that is wondering what the buzz was after those 3 games where he was good at times and bad at times and a lot of in between. But isn't that what a young quarterback is? The young quarterback isn't Stroud and isn't the guy that you're playing this week. Normally, the majority of them are guys that, struggle and they're overwhelmed. They're not sure where they're throwing it. They're just trying to figure. And I assure you, most rookies have zero idea. When I say zero idea, a small percentage of idea. When it's all done, they're like, damn, I didn't know what I didn't know. And the mental side, we know he could throw it. We know Haener can throw it. So for me, in the unconventional part of what I'm about to tell you, if you're the coaching staff and you say, okay, we've seen Rattler, there's no way a coaching staff is ready to quit, especially if they see him in the meeting room every day and say, no, I'm not quitting on a guy that's played 3 games. Matt, would we be served at this stage of the season to play them both? And I hate 2 quarterback systems. I absolutely despise. That's why the unconventional says, okay, we don't know the answer. You're trying to figure out the hot hand, who can handle the tug, and Washington's pretty damn good. And we're trying to figure out the season, and we don't know how long it's going to be for Carr, and maybe he's going to play, and it's a moot point. But do you play the old, you know what, let's have a package for both? Hot hand, stay. I know it sounds like we're in the sophomores in high school, and I don't normally subscribe. I want to see a guy get hot. If he gets hot, keep him in. Maybe there's a package for both. On the flip side, we saw it. Maybe Haener deserves to get the start and see if he can build that momentum and say, oh, okay, we got something here. But what you are trying to find out, other than win games, in truth, you're trying to win games. But when you're advanced scouting or looking at your roster, you are also, as a franchise, you're wondering about the coach. And the truth is, if he gets to make the decision fully just him, you're going to go with the guy that gives you the best chance to win, whoever that is in their building. Why? Because you want to keep the job. I don't blame him. And 2 quarterback systems aren't good, don't bode well for a staff. So the staff's sitting there saying, let's play this guy. And I'll tell you who won't lie. Players know who should be starting this week if it's not Carr. They know. And I don't know who they choose, but they know. And a coaching staff knows. So who gives you the best chance to win mentally first, then physically second between the 2? But if you're sitting on the fence, I don't have a problem with finding a hot hand or giving packages to both and seeing how it works. And if you got to settle in with one. So I know that sounds like it's not the definitive answer, but that's kind of, I've been thinking about this. I have, and I'm not sure what I do, but I know the sample size is not large enough to judge Rattler on his career, and Haener's shown flashes. So there's a part of me that would like to see him for 4 quarters. So maybe I start there and see if he gives you a little better chance than the 3 games of Rattler. But I do know this, that I still think regardless that you would have to think about the draft. But here's my other thing. I don't think there's maybe Sanders. I think he is. But I wouldn't draft Ewers right now or Ward or Carson Beck. Hell, I'm not sure I'd start Carson Beck in the playoffs. I wouldn't draft any of those guys in the first 10 picks. None of them. This is a weak first-round quarterback class, at least as we sit today.
Yeah.
Maybe you grab one in the third round and he ends up being a great player. But at the top, there's not going to be a whole lot of buzz about the first-round quarterbacks. Sanders is the best as we sit now, so I don't think you rule out. I'm a guy, Matt, and let me just say this. If I'm a head coach of a team or a general manager, I draft a quarterback every year. I do. Whether it's the 6th round, the 7th round, the 3rd round, I draft a quarterback, and I'm building assets like New England did with Mallet, with Jacoby Brissett, with Garoppolo.
Matt Castle.
Castle. I'm drafting one somewhere because you find a Brock Purdy. You find a Jim. And if guys are hurt by the competition, well, then guess what? They're not for me. I don't really care about their feelings about being hurt by the competition. I'm trying to make my roster better. I'm drafting, instead of the throwaway 7th round pick for an outside linebacker special teams guy, maybe there's a quarterback you say, I kind of like him, shown flashes, draft him. I'm all for taking a guy in the 6th round or this whatever, the 200th pick. I'll draft a quarterback every year in some round unless there's major necessity in every round for another position. That's how I think. So to answer your question long, I'm not ruling out, regardless of the result of this weekend, that I'm still going to look at a guy who can help my roster and make it deeper if that's the case.
And the Ben DiNucci signing, like that's just
warm body.
Well, okay.
Warm body.
Yeah.
I don't mean it disrespectful to him. It's hard to play in the league, but they brought him in there to run some scout team, and he may not even run that because the backup who doesn't play this week is going to want to get his reps on the practice field. It's a warm body. You need somebody there just to do it. They're in no danger of him starting over either one of those guys.
What about who's going to be on the other sideline? That's the injury here, is that we're going to get to see Jaden Daniels come back to Louisiana playing the Superdome. There's going to be a lot of LSU fans wearing Jaden Daniels number 5 Washington jerseys. But what are the Saints up against with Jaden at this point going into the final month of his rookie season, where he was a runaway rookie of the year at one point? They're still winning. He's cooled maybe a little bit. Just curious what you've seen the evolution of Jaden up to this point now in his rookie year.
And it's a long season, and defenses start to figure things out. Coordinators are smart. I look at the other way. I can find far more things to like than not to like. So if we say what's not to like about him, it's a short list. I think the guy is special. And as a rookie, I mean, the season, it's longer than your college season. It's grind. And these coordinators are anywhere they can see blood or do something, they're trying to find, okay, let's paint him into if we can find a weakness, let's paint him into that corner. Listen, man, he's accurate. You're not accurate by chance in this league. You're just not. He is a dynamic, and he'll have something special getting to play against this team this week. It matters to him. He is dynamic with his feet. He's a dynamic leader. He's a precise passer with the football. The only thing that you do if you're in New Orleans is you're saying he's a rookie. How do we do it? I would say, first off, like I kind of told you in the Milrow. Now, he's a far better passer than Milrow. Don't misunderstand. But I told you what LSU needed to do to Milrow, and what Oklahoma did do to him is take away his biggest strength, which would be his feet. They didn't do that, and you saw the result. With Jaden, even though he's accurate from the pocket, I still want to see if he can handle 30 to 35 throws from there, and you got to be a little passive-aggressive. If you over-pursue him or you go and miss like a great punt returner, he's going to destroy you on the edge. He just is. He's too athletic but we're not talking, and a lot of time with rookies we'll say, man, great feet, athletic quarterback, but he's still learning to be a passer. With Jaden Daniels, and we call him an athlete instead of a quarterback. Jaden Daniels is a quarterback who just happens to be a superior athlete with great movement. So you're going to have to cover the whole field with him. When he's playing, I don't look at him like a rookie. I have to remind myself that I'm dealing with a guy because there's an advancement mentally that he has, or anticipation. He's on a different level of thinking and anticipation than rookies normally are. And once again, that's not the standard for other rookies. Stroud and Jaden Daniels aren't normal. But this rookie class that's come in, Bo Nix, Caleb at times, Jaden, I think Drake May's good. This is a really, really good rookie class that's shown flashes, and this kid's no different. When all is said and done, he may not win Rookie of the Year, but I'll tell you right now, if you said of the group, who do you want the next 5 years? It's him. Of the 4 or 5, there's no doubt.
Commanders are 8-5. They're very clearly eyeing a playoff spot.
No doubt.
It's a steep hill for the Saints to climb this week.
And real quick, Matt,
Yeah,
you know what the 40. I mean, what the Commanders are thinking about this. They're not going to and saying, how do we protect our rookie? I mean, protect him from adversity or protect him from. They're approaching this. If we got to win it, put it in his hands. And that's hard to put into a rookie's hands. And that's how much they believe in him. And, Cliff's going to have all kinds of stuff for you. That's just the way he is.
Hey, before you go, Sean Salisbury's with us. We always appreciate Sean's time, the insight, always here. I wanted to get a thought on Burrow because obviously there's always going to be great interest in Joe here. But he's having an MVP caliber season on a bad team. It reminds me a lot, Sean, of some of those years where Drew Brees would throw for 5,000 yards on a team that went 7-9.
Right.
So when you look at Joe, how do you put into context this season that's so good on a team that's not?
I had them going to the Super Bowl this year.
Me too.
I did. I had them going to the Super Bowl and them against Detroit. And boy, wouldn't that have been a fun game if they were both, playing like Detroit is on a fast track indoors in February. Come on, man. The game would have lasted 7 hours with all the throwing, scoring.
And a half an hour halftime show?
Oh, hell yes. That's exactly right. Hell, they're both talented enough. They'd have both started singing at halftime at the at the halftime show too. And Joe's drip. The only thing negative to say about Burrow is we got to get him. We got to fix his attire. Okay. I know people that Joe. We got. I saw one today, Matt, that said Joe Burrow's attire looks like 70s or 80s. When you go to the movie theater carpet, the carpet you walk across.
Like shag carpet?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just horrible, right? When you have to rake in the carpet in your own living room. Yeah, that means I'm old. But, yeah, his drip ain't very good, but I'll tell you what, it doesn't have to be. It'll probably be a bestseller now because Burrow's wearing it and killing it. He flipped his record, and here's the MVP talk. Allen, Burrow, Saquon Barkley, Goff, and then Lamar and whoever else is in it. That's it. If he is, it's like Andre Dawson with the Cubs. He was the MVP in Major League Baseball on a last-place team.
Yeah.
Now, they're still in it. Now, it's a long way to go for them, too. But this is typical Burrow, keep them in it. If their team was good, I have not seen a quarterback play better. And that's saying something because the only guy in his league this year has been Josh Allen, in my mind, doing everything. And Josh is on a good team, and he's playing out of his mind, 6 more total touchdowns. It'll come down, put it this way, it would not be a unanimous decision on the MVP. Joe Burrow would be in it. He's having a phenomenal season with a team that's just struggled mightily to get off the field defensively. He is, I still think I will contend, and Josh Allen's in it, but outside of Mahomes, I have a major debate over whether it's Josh Allen or Joe Burrow second right now. I just do. And I think he's phenomenal. I'm disappointed in their team. I would love to see them go on an undefeated run, sneak their way in, and then see. Love to. He is as good as we have in the league, and this year, he's as good as we have in the league, and he doesn't have to take a back seat to Allen or Mahomes.
Wouldn't it be fascinating if they could get on a run? 5-8 right now. It's going to be a heavy lift to get there, but Titans, Browns, Broncos, Steelers, they could be there in Week 18, Sean, playing the Steelers in Pittsburgh with a playoff spot on the line. It's conceivable.
How fun would that game be?
Yeah, man.
How fun would that? And are you going to put it past him to pull that game out and get in? If that's the case, I'm not even as good as Mike Tomlin and the Steelers are. The guy's fat. The guy is just. He's one of those guys that when he's got the ball in his hand, good things happen. And he's a joy to watch, man. He just is. And I wish their team was better. I hope they go on that run because I'd sure as hell like to pay. I'd pay money to see it.
Yeah. Sean Salisbury's with us every single Tuesday. We always appreciate it, man. We look forward to chatting again. Thanks.
Loved it, brother. Thank you.
That is Sean Salisbury. Get him on Twitter, X at Sean Unfiltered. One of the best 30 minutes you'll spend. Listen to him talk football. It's easy. Put it on a tee, get out of the way, let that guy talk. It's awesome. All right, it's after further review. Let's knock out a break. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Segan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Don Moore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Tell you every day to buy local and shop local. Okay, a couple things. Christmas. You need your Christmas tree? They got them. You want live trees, real trees? They got them. You want the pre-lit tree? They got them. At any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. Poinsettias. Nobody has a better selection. Like the rows and scores of poinsettias are amazing. The different colors, they're gorgeous for your home, for your office to give as a gift. Go to Clegg's Nursery. Speaking of gifts, if you're shopping for the hard-to-buy-for person on your list, a Clegg's Nursery gift card is a great option. Whether they're a green thumb or not, They got great stuff for the home, for the garden. They've got great home decor as well. Things like hummingbird feeders. Great options at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local. Shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Well, she ain't in the cars or pickup trucks, but if it runs like a deer.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust are bringing you the ultimate holiday gift with our Home for the Holiday sweepstakes. Imagine 2025 with your renter mortgage covered up to $18,000. We're here to make your holidays a whole lot brighter. Just sign up at 1045ESPN.com and you could be living stress-free next year. The winner will be notified on December 20th.
All right, Otter Locks coming up here in just a smidge. By the way, you can get Otter Locks at louisianasports.net. It's already posted if you want Jimmy's plays. We got 4 college basketball plays. So the portal right now is in its second full day of the window being open, and there's some things starting to crystallize. I'm trying to avoid a ton of speculation and more give commentary on things we know. There are 4, as of right now, and God, this is just, it's like every time you hit refresh, it evolves. But there are 4 edge rushers, defensive ends, that as of now we know LSU is in on, reported to be in on, hosting for a visit. So I want to talk a little bit about each to kind of lay this out there for you. So 4 players. One of them we've discussed, Jamari Butler out of Nebraska. He's down to his final 3. It's Florida State, Texas A&M, and LSU. So he's down to his final 3. LSU's in the mix. Butler will be going into his 6th collegiate season. Had a really good year in 2023. Was Big Ten, all Big Ten honorable mention. where he had a handful of sacks, 10 TFLs, or 7 TFLs, excuse me. Good 2023. Defense is focused, or offense, focused on him a little bit more. The production was down a smidge, just a couple of sacks. But again, a guy entering his 6th season, a 23-year-old that would give you a great veteran presence, experience, productivity at defensive end. Will Helt is another worth keeping an eye on. He is out of Purdue. He's played 2 seasons of college football, hit the transfer portal, and Will Helt is visiting LSU. So this is one that LSU is clearly in on. They've offered, and he is coming to campus to visit LSU. As a freshman in 2023, played in a dozen games. This year in 2024 as a sophomore, blew up. 56 tackles, 10 TFLs, 5 sacks. And he is your prototypical end size. 6'6", 265. By the way, he wears 15 for Purdue. It's a little absurd that anybody at Purdue is wearing number 15, kind of like anybody at the University of Florida wearing 15. Drew Brees wore 15 at Purdue, for those that don't know. But in any event, Will Helt in the portal. He's visiting LSU, so another worth keeping an eye on there. The third is Cameron Olds, O-L-D-S. So Cameron Olds is from Kent State. He's entering year 4, so he's got 1 year of eligibility remaining. And he has reported an offer from LSU. He tagged LSU. He tagged Kevin Peoples in his tweet. And so Kevin Olds, O-L-D-S, has been offered by LSU. Entering year 4, 6'4", 240. So think more Braden Swinson build than Savion Jones build. This year, very productive. 42 tackles, 6 sacks, 7 TFLs. That's the third defensive end edge rusher that you're in on. And then maybe the wild card that could be the highest ceiling player, and something you'll notice here about all the guys I've just mentioned. Jamari Butler, a 6th-year player. Will Helt, been a 2-year player, just blew up as a sophomore going into year 3. Cameron Olds, going into his final year of eligibility. And then there's Williams Nwaneri. Williams Nwaneri is from the University of Missouri. He's from the state of Missouri. And he just finished his freshman year with the Missouri Tigers. He was a 5-star in the class of 2024. So just finished his freshman season, his first semester of college. 6'7", 265 in the 2024 signing class, was the number 1 edge and the number 7 overall prospect in the composite. He was a 5-star plus top 10 overall player, number 1 at his position in the country. Chose to stay home at Missouri after 1 season, is hitting the transfer portal. Now the caveat, it was a very underwhelming season. He didn't even play the maximum games, so he maintained a redshirt year, had just 2 tackles on the season. The most snaps he got was against, I believe, UMass, when he had 16 snaps. So this is a guy, athletically, with an extremely high ceiling, right? I mean, the number 7 overall prospect in the country, but had a very underwhelming freshman year. The reason this is worth bringing up is because Williams Nwaneri, his primary recruiter at Missouri was Kevin Peoples, who is now the LSU defensive ends coach. The defensive coordinator at Missouri when he committed and signed was Blake Baker. So there are some very natural synergies. Listen, at defensive end, LSU has, I think, a player with tremendous upside in Gabe Relaford, who played a lot this year as a freshman. I have been and continue to remain bullish on Kalaj Cobbins. I think he is going to be a straight problem as an edge rusher. I can understand, though, in losing Swinson and losing Savion Jones, Paris Shand, you are losing so much veteran presence at that spot. So adding someone like Jamari Butler, who will be entering his 6th season, adding someone like Cameron Olds, or maybe one of those guys entering his final year of eligibility, guys that have played a ton of football, then adding a guy that had a boom sophomore year that is ascending, like Will Helt from Purdue, and then maybe your moonbag in Williams Nwaneri, who's got all the athletic potential and ability in the world, got to get in the right spot. I mean, I'm not saying you're going to add all four of those guys. I think that's unrealistic. But I think it is realistic to add two. Give me one of the veterans and give me one of the booms. Mix them with the guys that you've already signed, and I think you could have something special there in that defensive front. So those are four players that we know, as of right now, have either have LSU in their list of finalists, are visiting LSU, have an offer from LSU, have deep ties and connections to this staff. Four players worth keeping an eye on at a gigantic position of need for LSU. We'll let you know how it continues to develop and evolve. All right, brought to you by Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com. Hey, if you're looking for the can't-miss gift for someone on your list, Supper Club gift card. Cannot miss. Give them an experience. Someone who has everything, give them an experience. Well, Supper Club, when I tell you, is an experience. From the moment you walk in, that dark lobby with the fluorescent Supper Club script sign right there on the wall, and you walk in and you see the beaded designs on the walls. You see the carpet that was imported from Holland. I mean, everything about Supper Club is a vibe, is an experience. From the decor to the presentation to the world-class meal that you will experience at Supper Club. Trust me. You want to give someone the perfect gift? Give them a gift card to Supper Club. Not too late to schedule your holiday party, maybe for your family, for a group, for the office. You could reserve the private room for a dozen people or so. You can reserve the whole restaurant if you want. Learn more. SupperClubBTR.com. SupperClubBTR.com. They're open right now. Remember, open seating at the bar. So even if you don't have a reservation, you can pop on in. And they are still accepting seating for Christmas Eve. So if you're going to go eat for Christmas Eve, think Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com. SupperClubBTR.com. All right, y'all. Glad you're hanging out here on this Tuesday edition of AFR Powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Ton of good stuff on the show today. If you missed any of it, Shea Dixon was here in hour one. We talked plenty of portal recruiting. We had Stephen Milam and Ashton Larson in studio with us at the top of hour two. Just heard Sean Salisbury. Great stuff. If you missed anything, AFR On Demand podcast, YouTube, just search AFR LSU, AFR Saints, or you get the full podcast or full show on YouTube as well if you search After Further Review. All right, final break of the show. We'll come back, do some auto locks with Jimmy. Stick around.
After Further Review.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. More than 70 locations now, y'all. From Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama, and points in between. So much to tell you about with Rouse's. Of course, you're making groceries. They've been helping Louisianians do that for 100 years. If you're having that Christmas party, that holiday party, remember Rouse's Catering. The mini sandwiches, the mini muffalettas, the boudin balls, the meat pies, the catfish. They got catering trays to feed parties of any size. So check them out over at Rouse's or Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Man, you're going to be feeding your family this holiday. Maybe you need your spirits for that holiday party. Maybe to bring as a gift, as a white elephant gift, whatever it is. A great selection of all your liquors and your spirits and great wine selection at Rouse's as well, where they've got the Buy 4, Save More program going on. Remember, the more wine you buy, the more you can save. You can maybe try some really interesting wines from Rouse's. Rouse's.com. Rouse's. This feels like home.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off the newly designed Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Downstretch we come. Final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine. One thing left to do, find out we're betting on tonight. Time for Auto Locks.
Auto Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, how are you?
What's up, Matt? Doing good. Crazy split last night.
I know.
Cruise
man.
control for the over, and then, boy, tough beat if you had the Cowboys plus 4.5. So
I'll take it.
Plus it. Yeah, we'll take it. So it's Monday night's been interesting to say the least. Coming down the stretch. I mean, at one point it was close to 60 was the in-game total, but that thing just hit the brakes. But don't worry about Jamal kneeling down at the 2, baby. Get 7, baby.
Getting that 7, man. 4 basketball plays tonight. One of them's already underway. I know Tennessee's playing Miami tonight.
Yeah, Tennessee, first half of the Jimmy V Classic in Madison Square Garden. Tennessee has been blowing everybody out. Until they don't, we're going to keep riding them. So it's a big number. It's probably a little bit too big, but again, we're just going to ride them till they don't cover. They are, this team is, lost a big piece in Dalton Connect. There's no doubt about that. But man, Barnes has another really good team. They're really good on defense. Ziegler, who I'm kind of hot and cold on, but man, if you come back for a 4th year starting, I'll take you. So tons of depth. Milicic Jr. on the team, a little bit of everything for Tennessee. Well, just in, a lot of really good teams in the SEC. Rutgers at home at the Jersey Mike Center. Used to be the Rack, now it's the Jersey Mike. -3 right now. It was -2.5, -3.5. It's now -3, and so we're going to take Rutgers against Penn State. Situational handicap here. Penn State, we had them last week. They blasted Purdue, but they're trying to go back on the road. So those home teams early, situational spot, we'll take them. This next one just moved, Matt. Illinois at DraftKings just went to 7. We're still going to take them. It was 6.5 most of the day, most places. But I'm talking about just as I got on the phone with you, it went to 7. Still suggested at -7. And the 4th pick today down at Fogelman Arena on Ferret Street, Uptown. Tulane's bad. Southern Miss is bad. So give me 6 points in this one. I'll take the Golden Eagles plus the 6 points.
Tennessee, the in-game on Tennessee. I'm waiting for it to come back on the board, but there it is. So it's back on the board at 12.5. So Even
getting a better number.
Yeah, a little better number there at 12.5. If you in-game Tennessee right now against Miami, it's a 1-point game. Tennessee leading 16-15. So 4 plays tonight: Tennessee, Rutgers, Southern Miss, and Illinois. Your 4-pack from the ADA. Where are you tomorrow?
Remind everybody.
Yep.
Remind everybody. We release. The early picks. Sometimes I have more when we come on the air. So still doing some handicapping, late moves, and things like that. So. But we do the picks that we're putting out early. Keep in mind, chalk early, dogs late. So bet the favorites early, wait right before game time to bet the dogs. More times than not all the time, more times than not, you'll get the better of the line.
You have taught me well. Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
Roca Pizzeria
Awesome.
on Government Street in Mid-City.
Great spot right down from us. Gets Charlie and Jimmy every weekday, 11 to 1, and now on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel as well. Thanks, Otter. Good luck.
All right, good luck, man.
I mean, be well. We're brought to you by Michele Weighing and Measurement. You weigh or measure something. They sell, service, rent the products you use to weigh and measure. It's Michele Weighing and Measurement. Michele.com, Michele.com. More than 30 offices and calibration labs across 13 different states and continuing to grow their footprint. I was at the ribbon cutting last year for the expanded calibration lab there in Harahan, and was talking to a lot of the folks over at Michele. They're like, can't wait to go international. It's still their goal. More than 75 years maintaining local ownership and continuing their steady growth. Love to see it. It's Michele Weighing and Measurement. Michele.com. Michele.com. At Michele, we show the world what measurement can do. All right, really good show. You missed anything, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. You can book your tee time at golf.breck.org. Shea Dixon, Hour 1. Kamori and Pimpton in the portal. We had Ashton, Larson, Stephen Milam in studio with us. Sean Salisbury, Saints sign a quarterback. Tons of stuff. You missed anything, get it on demand. Muse, Paulie, thanks. Y'all have an awesome night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
After further review.
As we get on down the road, I'll remind you about Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, vinyl siding. Man, they do it all, and they do it better than anyone else. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Oh, yeah, they do indoor shutters as well. So you want to beautify your home? Relief Windows. You want to make your home more energy efficient? Relief Windows. You want to increase the resale value of your home? Relief Windows. The answer is always Relief Windows. From when Eric and I got married and brought Drew home, we wanted to soundproof his room. We installed one of those sound-resistant windows. Moved into our new home. Our den is this big wall of windows. We installed the energy-efficient Cat 5 resistant, approved, storm-forced impact-resistant windows there to lower the energy bills and make that home that room in our home more energy efficient. They do it all, and they do it better than anyone else. It's Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, oh yeah, they do shutters as well. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Breck teamed up to reimagine